picture to spell. Hey fam, hey Stinny, what up everybody? How you doing tonight? Will?
I'm doing swell.
Are you swell or do you still have a concussion?
Oh, from the picture?
I'm feeling a little bit triggered just watching you sitting there.
Yeah, last time I was here, took a picture to the face.
You have pictures hanging up right now.
There's one picture up there. There's no way it's coming down. The cursed picture is sitting, it is on the floor. It's not anywhere near a wall.
All right, you guys heard that? He said there's no way it's coming down, so let's see how long it takes until he gets hit in the head with it.
God.
Well, how you doing tonight, Stinthin?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. We'll see how this goes tonight. Hey to all of our chat friends. Glad to see you guys. Dylan, Sarah, our favorite bucket of popcorn, Chris, everybody
hello.
who is here, Esteban. So it's actually going to be one-on-one tonight.
It's gonna be awesome.
Hey Trina, hey Granny. Yeah, I don't know. So I feel like my demeanor sort of changes every time we do one of these on the election. How you kind of stay the same, I think.
I still think to this day that DeSantis can be the nominee. I think it's a really narrow path. Don't get me wrong. The odds are not in his favor at all, but I think it's possible. I think he will get Iowa, which will show you, or at least it'll show everyone else too, like the voters, not to trust everything they see, because like these Iowa polls, Trump has historic leads. And if DeSantis gets Iowa, doesn't mean he's going to be the nominee, but it for sure will give him momentum. And I think a lot more people will realize, hey, he actually does have a chance.
I'm feeling very black-pilled. I feel like there's nobody to be for. I can't stand Trump. I can't stand Nikki Haley. Nobody else is an option. And DeSantis, I feel like his campaign, like every time I feel like he's gaining some momentum, he just kind of goes back to sleep for 6 more weeks. I don't understand his campaign.
Well, it also, it doesn't help that whenever Trump says or does literally anything, that's all the media attention is. It sucks all the air out of the room. Even DeSantis was asked about what was one thing you could change about your campaign or like something like that. And he said, well, the biggest hindrance to our campaign has been these indictments. Every time Trump gets indicted, it just sucks all the air out of the room. It's all anyone's talking about. It's true. And it gives him a lot of primary momentum.
It is. I just feel like I think Michael Malice said it best, that DeSantis as governor has been all about big, bold actions. His campaign, on the other hand, has been, I think, like the most milquetoast, least bold thing to ever happen. But I want to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'm voting for him, so I hope I'm wrong.
But what sucks too, it might seem like his campaign is boring, but like in reality, you look at everyone else's campaign, and all Ron's doing is going out there and saying like, yeah, I've done this. I've won this fight. I've done this in Florida. I know how to do it in the national level. So it's like, yeah, he has made those bold moves. And he's going around and telling everyone, hey, I've done this. No one else has done it. I'm your guy.
I just get the sense that me being a big supporter of DeSantis, if I'm feeling this way, I feel like there's a disconnect between him and voters, I feel. That's just the impression I get. I hope I'm wrong. But
don't get me wrong. I see why people think he's awkward. He's not very personable. Which is weird. Like, you know, sometimes I see videos where he looks really personable, where he's like drinking beers with people and stuff. But overall, he's a lot more awkward of a guy than Trump is when Trump's talking to people, and Trump's got that charisma. DeSantis doesn't have it, but what DeSantis has that's awesome is confidence. Like no one beats his confidence, which is great. Like when he's asked about anything in the future, like even Chris Sununu, for example, when he's asked like, oh, what'd you think of Sununu endorsing Haley? And he's like, well, you know, Sununu is a great guy. I'm not going to trash him. I think he made the wrong decision. But I look forward to campaigning with him again when I'm the nominee. I'm like, that's such a great answer.
Yeah. I think tonight he's going to have some pepper in his pants.
He better, because here's the thing. This is what I'm so excited for. Is it's just him versus Haley. And every time Haley has tried to attack DeSantis on policy during these debates, it has fallen, like it has fallen so short. Like it has backfired on her so hard. Like the last one, when she was like, oh, Ron's on tape saying bathroom bills are a waste of my time. And Ron's like, excuse me, I actually signed the bathroom bill. You killed it. You opposed it in your state. So sit down.
He actually put out a great video. I'll see if we could play it at some point tonight. He just put out a great video, probably the first good video I've seen from his campaign of all of her lies, her just contradicting herself for like 2 minutes straight.
He has a whole website called therealnikki.com.
By the way, sorry, parentheses, I want to hit up the chat. Granny Panties. So many cool peeps in the chat tonight. What a great little family we have. We do. Y'all are
how's it going?
Best. Sarah, Dylan. Oh, apparently Vivek and Candace are on Timcast together. So I should mention, so yeah, chat, let us know who is going to be our Trump correspondent and who is going to be our Vivek correspondent.
Oh, by the way, I saw Burner Popcorn Accounts earlier question about why am I not wearing my DeSantis shirt. So
here it comes.
So a friend of mine gave me a Christmas gift. That's like, I mean, you'll just see, it's hilarious. It's very cringe, but that's the point of it.
You're very cringe.
So they gave me a Ben Shapiro shirt with about 4 of him on it, with lightning in the background. It looks like a Metallica band album cover, but it's just Ben Shapiro.
That is epic.
So, yeah.
I should
People are going to
say,
be like watching the stream, and they're just going to see the top of my shirt say Ben Shapiro, and they'll be like, this guy's in a cult. Let me tell you, this guy complains about Trump. He's wearing a Ben Shapiro shirt with 4 faces on it.
I should say, by the way, shout out to this friend of Will's, because he watches all the Daily Wire movies with him so that I don't have to. So I appreciate it very much.
Oh my God. I recently watched Liddy Ballers and then the Hyperions, which is the superhero film.
I heard that.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
I just realized, by the way, sorry, parentheses. Why am I saying this out loud? I just realized I should maybe put pants on, because if in case we're like cheering and I stand up, I'm going to maybe find pants before this starts.
Yeah, put some pants on. Jeez.
Whatever, Will. Hey, Fit Dad Chris is here. What up,
cracking
dude?
Open Stella, by the way.
Ooh. Yeah, what was that drink we had again in Chicago? Schlitz. We got Schlitz face.
I love Schlitz.
I can't find it here.
Good. Yeah, it's Milwaukee. It's from Milwaukee. Chris
wants to know if you've become a Vivek fan. I always fuck his name up.
Short answer, no, because I still don't like really trust him at all. And I think he's really good at saying and knowing what people want to hear, because he's flip-flopped on a lot of his positions. That being said, though, I do agree with a lot of what he says. I just don't trust him as a person. What his motivations are, but what the thing I've really come to respect about Vivek, though, is the way he interacts with voters, which is something I think actually DeSantis is lacking a little bit in his campaign. Vivek is really good at mingling with the crowd and talking to people. The dude's at visiting frats. Vivek will leave his own event to go confront a protester who's interrupting, invite the protester inside and have a conversation with him. Like, that's awesome. And that's lacking in today's society, is those conversations. So that I give him a lot of credit for doing.
That is my point. I think if DeSantis would have run the campaign that Vivek has run, he would be the nominee. Because Vivek, he will go anywhere that a camera is. He will go absolutely anywhere, talk to anyone, goes on every podcast known to mankind. And I don't know. I just think DeSantis has played it very safe. But by the way, parentheses, look who we have a super chat from. Stop yapping, Mike. You little shit.
Stop, Cooper. Stop yapping.
Trina
Esteban trusts Vivek more than Ben Shapiro. What?
Hey, at least I've been consistent all my life.
Panskate Popcorn is very glad you watched it. I'm glad I didn't have to. A couple friends of mine are in it, but
yeah, and one of his friends, Tyler, was like one of the best characters of the whole thing.
Chandler's in it.
Chandler was great. I recognized her immediately. I was like, that's Chandler.
I didn't even know she was in it until you sent me that.
Yeah, it's wild. She's in one scene, but it's good to see her on there.
Hey, Sage. Yes, by the way, y'all should totally do this. Sage was our Trump correspondent last time. I was trying to remember yesterday when we were talking. I was like, who's our Trump correspondent last time? Yeah, Sage, if you feel like popping in and letting us know what Trump is up to, maybe after the debate, we'll try to see what he was up to. Apparently, I didn't see it. Apparently, he got asked a question by a DeSantis voter about not building the wall the other day, and he was not too pleased about that.
Who, Trump?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is kind of funny when you see him making the same campaign promises he did in 2016.
Yeah. I know Sherry said don't be blackpilled, but I've given up hope on this. I would love to be wrong. Please, God, prove me wrong, but I have given up hope on this election.
I mean, here's the thing with DeSantis, though, is I get why people say he's unlikable as a person, but if you're just thinking about like future of the country party, like he's just like a political machine. Like he's the guy, if he gets in, you can count on him to do everything he's going to say, or he says he's going to do. Like he will do it. Like we might not even be used to the amount of things he gets done. It's going to be like Trump in 2016.
You're going to get
so
sick
much
of
winning. You're going to get sick and tired of winning. I'm like, DeSantis, I think, is the guy that we thought Trump was going to be. Not to say Trump didn't do anything. He did. He got a lot done. But I think DeSantis is way more of a machine when it comes to just signing things and getting it done.
Ron needs to listen up a bit and take notes from Vec. Will, how do you think the Supreme Court will rule about Trump being allowed on ballots?
I think the Supreme Court's going to side with Trump on that. And they should.
They better.
Because that's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, it's a unprecedented move for them to do that. It's never been used on the president. It also, in the wording in the Constitution, doesn't actually mention the president in text. So we're not quite sure if it applies to the president. On top of that, the dude's just never been convicted of insurrection. So you should probably start there if you're going to hit him with that.
The fucking bathroom at Taco Bell is more of an insurrection than January 6th was an insurrection. I mean, you would know because I've never been to the Taco Bell. But
why don't we just rip Kamala Harris off the ballot for bailing out people in the 2020 riots? She was helping an insurrection.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
She was literally bailing people out of jail who were lighting car dealerships on fire and burning the American flag and establishing their autonomous free zones. So if you want to talk about insurrection, that's a pretty good example.
Cooper, Trump looks like he eats Taco Bell.
You know what he looks like? He eats McDonald's. And I say that because I know he eats McDonald's a lot. Like, I think it was like 5 days a week at one point when he was like first president or something.
Sorry, by the way, parentheses, we've got all the greatest people in here tonight. Wasn't the law that against Trump a holdover? Can we say, got him that shirt?
Also, yes, he got me this shirt. That is my friend Evan.
That is epic.
I love the comic picture too.
But
no, I think you're right.
That.
No, because the same thing with Santos. When they got Santos out of there, that was like another law that hadn't been used since the Confederacy. That's what like the Democrats' playbook is. Like now that January 6th happened, they have the insurrectionist excuse to use against Republicans. They're using all these old laws from the Civil War that were used against actual insurrectionists, like the Confederates who seceded. So they're using all these old laws that were made to like combat that from happening again, and it's just so silly. I think want a civil war. You know, bringing back Civil War laws is a good way to start the Civil War.
I think they're going to be so overconfident if he's the nominee that you won't hear about. They'll suddenly just back off these things of removing him from the ballot because they won't need to. Grady, I have not seen you in way too long. How are you, my love?
Hey.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on chats. Oh, yeah, there was a pro-Hamas insert. Oh, by the way, sorry, parentheses. Before we start, guess who now has a YouTube channel and did his first video?
I did. I finally released my piece on Israel, which is, I mean, I put like so much work into it. It had to been like at least 100 hours just with the research and the finding footage and everything. But thank you guys all so much for watching it. And the feedback was amazing. You guys are the best.
Yeah, you guys all better subscribe to his channel. The link is in the thing there below.
Oh, thanks.
So click on it and do the stuff. It's an amazing video. I've had to see it so many times that I never want to hear the word Israel ever again as long as I live.
Israel.
But it's an amazing video.
I'm also putting some shorts out there. Uh-oh, why did I freeze? Can you still
Because
hear me?
everyone is sick of hearing about
Oh, gosh darn it.
Sarah
My phone
says,
is
Will,
having like an aneurysm.
Ooh, lots of people liked it. Sarah says, Will, your video is phenomenal. Popcorn says, Will's video was so impressive for first YouTube attempt. Mad props. I did watch and subscribe.
Oh, thank you.
Granny, Will's video was excellent. What is going on with your computer?
I don't know, dude. This is the second time it's happened.
Mine.
It just completely loses connection from camo.
You have it open on your phone?
Yeah, and then on my phone it says inactive.
What did you do to get it back on before?
I just opened up camo on my computer, but even that's not working. Let me quit it and try it again.
Esteban says, I loved Will's video. By the way, while he... Oh, hey, there you are, Stenny.
Oh, thanks, Esteban. I loved your reaction to it, too. I'm so glad. That's like why I made the video, was for people, like that exact reason. People who might not know a ton about it, having a more clear vision going forward of what exactly we're dealing with this Free Palestine movement.
Will is not a cog. Will is a block of raclette.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'll take that as a compliment.
You should. And
Bobby, I'm making some shorts, though.
Yes, you do your shorts. Sorry,
I'm doing some shorts because the video is like 50 minutes long. So,
by the way, parentheses, shameless self-promotion. If anybody feels so inclined to support the channel and support the show and our watch parties, send in your super chats, join my locals, become a channel member, do all the stuff. Yes, send us your super chats because I need to be a better grifter. So apparently the only place I could find this streaming tonight was on HBO Max.
Wait, what?
We'll see how that goes. Yeah, it's not on Rumble tonight for some reason.
HBO Max has the debate?
Yeah, CNN.
Are you sure you can even like screen record? Are they gonna have like copyright things? HBO?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. We'll find out.
They want to test it. It starts in 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's fine. All right, vamp for a second while I pull this up.
All right. Well, I am very excited for tonight because I'm confident that Ron's going to do really well. I did see a comment earlier by someone, I don't know who it was, saying if Ron messes this up, it's his fault. I completely agree.
Oh, yeah.
Nikki Haley is ripe for the take. Go for it, Ron.
I don't believe any of these polls, by the way, that show her with such a lead. Everyone will need some therapy. What's that?
I don't know, dude. It's just weird, the whole Nikki Haley thing. Also, Chris Christie dropped out today, and that's going to give her New Hampshire. If all these polls are correct, she has New Hampshire because I bet you his support's going to go to her.
Quit your yapping, young man. Joe Biden 2020.
You know the thing.
You know the thing.
Come on,
Warren
man.
Buffett was a bad dude. All right, here we go.
Oh, that's a good question by Evan.
Wait, sorry, I'm trying to get the... Oh my God, they have a Gwyneth Paltrow documentary about skiing with Gwyneth Paltrow and getting sued for it. Sorry, that was parentheses.
Okay. Interesting.
How do you feel going into this debate compare? I feel better about it because DeSantis did so well in that. And I think this will be kind of similar. It's one-on-one. I think he'll be a little bit more motivated.
The thing is there's more like protective nets up when it comes to Republicans. Like Newsom's a Democrat. So Ron was just like full throttle. Like we disagree on basically everything going after you. It was really good. With Haley though, like, and Trump, because Trump's obviously still in it, even though he's not on the stage. Like, with Republicans, I feel like Ron's a little different. Like he still says the good things, but he's not like as full throttle as he was with Newsom. And I feel like with Republicans, he has to be more like careful about what he says about Trump and his supporters. And I don't know.
Why is the play button no longer here?
But I do feel confident. Like Mike said, I feel confident going into this based on how he did the last one-on-one debate.
Question for anyone in the chat. Does anyone have like a Rumble link or something? I don't think it's on there. I'm trying to, for some reason on HBO Max, it no longer has a play button.
Oh,
It's weird. Sorry. I had this all planned out, how to watch it, so don't think I'm leaving it till now.
See, I'm also looking it up.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Sorry. Got it. They moved
Sweet.
the play button. Here we go. Watch live.
No way HBO Max has a documentary called The Insurrectionist Next Door.
No way. The Insurrectionist Next Door. Let me hit up the super chats before we begin. Thank you guys so much. Bobby, you're the best. Address the elephant not in the room. How Christie took Vivek's orders. Get off this stage, enjoy a nice meal, and get the hell out of this race. I forgot about that.
Hope he's enjoying a nice meal. I feel like I just know it. Christie's gonna endorse Haley.
Oh, of course. Because they're the same, basically. Sarah, you're the best. For my favorite boys who are so very nice. I love y'all. No one does debate better than you guys. Thank you for that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I don't know about nice, but
Oh God, we can also be subscribers to CNN for the debate.
yeah, I was like, I don't want to give them money. All right, here we go.
Let's do this. I'm so excited.
I know. I'm nervous.
It's just nice because we just one-on-one, so we just know what we're gonna have so much more talking time for Ron compared to all the others.
Hey, Gaze for Trump is here.
Hey, how's it going?
Aw, dude. Good to see you.
Welcome.
Jeremy, how's it going? Yeah, fuck subscribing to CNN. All right, let me pull this up.
Let's do it. Des Moines, Iowa.
This campaign.
We are just minutes or seconds away. Abby Phillip, thank you. David Axelrod, thank you as well. The two candidates are backstage. They will be coming out momentarily. Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis is their final debate before
there we go.
Iowa caucuses. The CNN Republican presidential debate between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis is going to start now.
Is he on drugs or is it playing slowly?
No, I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, his demeanor is very.
Thanks so much, Darius.
They should just have a Trump picture and then just get it like nudged out.
It should be like the mommy dearest picture. It's ripped down the middle.
Live from Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa.
All right, Will, let's do this.
Republican presidential debate.
Boom.
We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world watching us on CNN, CNN Max, CNN International,
CNN Max,
CNN en Espanol, and CNN.com. Good evening. I'm Jake Tapper, moderating tonight's debate alongside my friend and colleague, Dana Bash.
And just 5 days from now, voters here in Iowa will cast the first votes of the 2024 presidential race. Tonight, the very first one-on-one matchup between top contenders, Governor Ron DeSantis and former Governor and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley.
I'm so ready for this.
Former President Trump met the requirements for tonight's debate, but declined to participate.
Our commitment in this debate is to provide as much information as possible to voters, especially here in Iowa, before the first contests begin next week. So in choosing topics, we focused on the issues important to Republicans. Let's bring out the candidates now. Please welcome Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
To Republicans?
Please welcome former South Carolina Governor and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley.
Drink every time she says she's a woman. Ugh. Is she wearing a fucking potato sack?
Candidates, please please take your positions behind the podiums while we remind you and our audience of the ground rules. Each of you will have 90 seconds to answer questions, 60 seconds for responses and rebuttals, and 15 seconds for clarifications. Timing lights will remind you when time is expired.
I've never met an
our
IRL
audience here in the Cheslow Auditorium at Drake University.
I know 3 of them.
To be respectful, so the candidates can hear the questions and can hear each other.
Just hours ago, the Republican field narrowed once again. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie ended his bid for the presidency. So, with one fewer candidate in the running, let's start with the decision voters here in Iowa are about to face. Governor DeSantis, why should voters who are looking for an alternative to the current frontrunner, former President Trump, vote for you rather than former Governor Haley?
Well, the people of Iowa, good evening. It's great to be in Iowa to have a debate here. Donald Trump's running to pursue his issues. Nikki Haley's running to pursue her donors' issues. I'm running to pursue your issues and your family's issues and to turn this country around. I'm the only one running that's delivered on 100% of the promises that I've made. We've delivered huge victories in the state of Florida, things that Republicans have been asking for a generation. I'm also the only one running that has beaten the left time and time again. We beat the teachers union on universal school choice. We beat Soros on crime. We beat Fauci on COVID. We beat the Dems on election integrity. And I beat the left by banning China from buying land in the state of Florida. Now, Nikki Haley is running. We don't need another mealy-mouthed politician who just tells you what she thinks you want to hear just to try to get your vote, then to get in office and to do her donors' bidding. She was in another state and she said the people of Iowa's votes need to be corrected. This is somebody that wrote in her book that Hillary Clinton inspired her to first run for office. I remember Hillary denigrating people on the Republican side as deplorables. We don't need a candidate who's going to look down on middle America. We've had enough of that. I'm the only one that's going to be able to lead this country's revival. I'm asking for your support and I won't let you down.
Governor Haley,
weird? Does it sound like he's crying?
Well, I think this is a time that we know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the audio, if he was like,
we have watched our country be in disarray. We see the world on fire, and we need someone who's had executive experience. I've been a 2-term governor that took a double-digit unemployment state and turned it into an economic powerhouse. I was at the UN. I dealt with Russia, China, Iran every day. But you're going to find out tonight that there's going to be a lot of Ron's lies that have happened. There are at least a couple of dozen so far that he's done. So what we're going to do is, rather than have him go and tell you all these lies, you can go to DeSantisLies.com and look at all of those. There's at least 2 dozen lies that he's told about me, and you can see where fact checkers say exactly what's going to happen and exactly why it's wrong. So it will cover the fact that he's only mad about the donors because the donors used to be with him, but they're no longer with him now. And that's because he's upset about the fact that his campaign is exploding. You're going to see the fact that he has switched his policies multiple times, and we'll call that out tonight. But every time he lies, Drake University, don't turn this into a drinking game because you will be overserved by the end of the night.
Well, I think this is interesting because you can actually go to RonDeSantis.com because Nikki Haley has this tactic. If you hold her accountable to her record, first she'll say, I never said that. Well, one good rule of thumb, if she says she's never said something, that definitely means she said it. And then she'll say, you're lying, you're lying. That means not only did she say it, but she's on videotape saying it. And so we have all the greatest hits. The reality is Nikki Haley is not somebody that has been willing to stand in and fight on behalf of conservatives. You know, she ran for governor saying she was going to do universal school choice, and she caved to the teachers union. She didn't deliver that. In Florida, I delivered the largest expansion of school choice in the history of the United States. I beat the teachers union. And you know what the results are? When she was governor of South Carolina, she was rated 50th in education, dead last. You know where Florida is under my watch? #1 in the nation.
Your response, Governor Haley?
Go to DeSantisLies.com and you can find out for yourself. But why don't we talk about the fact that if we're going to say this, when Ron was representing Florida, he said that he promised not to raise the debt limit.
This is going to get really ugly. I can't wait.
Yet he raised the debt limit by hundreds of billions of dollars. He used to support Ukraine. He supported Ukraine when President Obama was in office. Now he's trying to copy Trump and saying that he no longer supports Ukraine and doesn't want to give them foreign aid anymore. He also goes and says that He wants to talk about me insulting Iowans. Iowans know when you're telling a joke. The fact that he's only running in one state is not the way you win president. I'm running in all states. But he should tell Iowans why he authored legislation to ban the renewable fuel standard that's so important to Iowans' economy, and the fact that he co-sponsored 5 different pieces of legislation to get rid of it. And also, then he also said he would never do anything with Social Security. Yet he voted 3 times to raise the retirement age of Social Security. So if you're going to talk about what you said and what you did, I think you've got your own explaining to do rather than telling lies about.
Thank you, Governor. We're going to get to a lot of these issues in the debate. Governor Haley, when Governor Christie dropped out of the race just a few hours ago, he said the most important issue is, quote, the character of the candidate. Governor Christie also said he ran because he knew he would be the only Republican candidate to speak the truth about former President Donald Trump. Do you believe Donald Trump has the character to be president again?
Well, I think the next president needs to have moral clarity. I think you need to have moral clarity to understand that it's taxpayer money.
Someone wants to be VP.
I think you need to have moral clarity to understand that when you're dealing with dictators in the world, that we always have to fight for democracy and human rights and protecting Americans and preventing war. And so when you look at Donald Trump, I have said, I think he was the right president at the right time. I agree with a lot of his policies, but his way is not my way. I don't have vengeance. I don't have vendettas. I don't take things personally. For me, it's very much about no drama, no whining, and getting results and getting them done. So I don't think that President Trump is the right president to go forward. I think it's time for a new generational leader that's going to go and make America proud again. That's what I'm going to try and do.
Governor DeSantis, what is your response to Chris Christie? Do you believe Donald Trump has the character to be president again?
Well, I'm running because I'm the guy that's going to be able to engineer a comeback for this country. I appreciated what President Trump did, but let's just be honest. He said he was going to build a wall and have Mexico pay for it. He did not deliver that. He said he was going to drain the swamp. He did not deliver that. He said he was going to hold Hillary accountable, and he let her off the hook. He said he was going to eliminate the debt, and he added $7.8 trillion to the debt. So we need to deliver and get this stuff done. And I think the difference between Nikki Haley and me, I listened to all that litany of stuff. I debated the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. I thought he lied a lot. Nikki Haley gives him a run for his money, and she may even be more liberal than Gavin Newsom is. We are in a situation here in Florida, and as Republicans, you need somebody that is going to be in there and fight for you. And Nikki Haley, anytime the going gets tough, anytime people come down, she caves. When you need someone standing and fight for you, don't look for Nikki Haley. You won't be able to find her if you had a search warrant.
Thank you, Governor. Governor Haley.
Look, I think I dealt with Russia, China, Iran, North Korea every day. No one ever said I caved. I defended America, and I fought for America. But I'll also say this is not a time where you have to have pettiness. I wish Donald Trump was up here on this stage. He's the one that I'm running against. He's the one that I wish would be here. He needs to be defending his record. Right now, he's not defending the fact that he allowed us to have $8 trillion in debt over 4 years that our kids are never going to forgive us for. The fact that he didn't deal with China when it came to stealing intellectual property. The fact that they gave us COVID. The fact that they've gone and continued to put up Chinese police stations and continue to threaten our military. He didn't do enough to make sure that we were really standing with our friends and doing some other things. What we need is a leader that's not looking at 4 years and 8 years. We need a president that's looking at 20 and 30 years, because I want my kids to have a good future. I want them to have one without debt, one where they can read, one with secure borders, one where we have law and order, and one where America is strong.
Well, thank you. With all due respect, for her to single out Donald Trump on China, and look, I think he could have been tougher on him 100%. When Nikki Haley was governor of South Carolina, she was the #1 governor in America for Republicans of bringing China into her state. She wrote a love letter to the ambassador saying that they were a great friend. She's on video saying China's a friend. She had a business, Chinese business, 5 miles from a military base. There's a video of her on the website right in front of a Chinese flag saying that she works for them now. So that was her #1 achievement as governor, was bringing China into the state of South Carolina. So you say you're going to look 10, 20, 30 years down the road. Why wasn't she doing that then when people were raising the red flags about it? In Florida, I banned China from buying land in our state, and we kicked them out of our university. That's what you need to be doing.
We're going to talk about China in a little bit. I want to talk about the economy, which according to a recent Des Moines Register poll shows that the
Has he had
economy is
work done?
the top issue for caucus goers here. So Governor Haley, the rate of inflation is down. Prices, though, are still high, and Americans are struggling.
I will say, so far, I'm not super satisfied with his answers.
What is the single most important policy that you would implement as president to make the essentials in Americans' lives more important?
I think we have to acknowledge that Republicans and Democrats have both done this. I mean, the fact that they've done all of this wasteful spending, they did a $2.2 trillion COVID stimulus bill that expanded welfare, that's now left us with 80 million Americans on Medicaid, 42 million Americans on food stamps. That's a third of our country. What I will do is I think it's time we have an accountant in the White House. We have to have someone that respects taxpayer dollars.
Roll the tape.
And
I
we'll start by
for
clawing back $100 billion of unspent COVID dollars that are still out there. We'll go in, instead of 87,000 IRS agents going after middle America, we'll go after the hundreds of billions of dollars of COVID fraud, $1 out of every $7. If 8% of our budget is interest, quit borrowing, cut up the credit cards. I had to balance a budget as governor. You have to balance a budget every day. Why is Congress the only group that refuses to balance a budget? We'll stop the spending, we'll stop the borrowing, we'll eliminate the pet projects and the earmarks, and I'll veto any spending bill that doesn't take us back to pre-COVID levels. And then we want to make sure that we allow the middle class to breathe. We're going to eliminate the federal gas and diesel tax in this country and cut taxes on the middle class and simplify those brackets. And then we want to make the small business tax cuts permanent. They made corporate tax cuts permanent, but they made small business tax cuts temporary. Small businesses are the heartbeat of America. We need to prove it by making those tax cuts permanent.
But they all burned down in the riots that you
How would you
stood
make
for.
those essentials more affordable for Americans?
Well, I disagree with Ambassador Haley. We don't need an accountant in the White House. We need a leader in the White House. And that's what I would bring. I've spoken with Iowans. I'm visiting all 99 counties and also folks all across this country. The American dream is slipping away. People are working hard. They're getting the most out of their God-given ability. They're doing everything right, and they're falling further and further behind. Trying to afford a new home today, your monthly mortgage payment would probably be twice as much as what it would have been if you were starting out 5 years ago. We have to make the economy work for those folks. Yes, I'm going to battle the spending. In Florida, you look, we have the national debt clock going up to 34 trillion. I see it. If you did a debt clock for the state of Florida, it would be counting down because we've paid down 25% of our state debt just since I've been governor. We're going to open up all energy for production because that will be deflationary. Nikki Haley, when she was governor, she promised she would never do the gas tax. Then she tried to raise the gas tax on hardworking South Carolinians. Here's the thing. We need to fly a flag of bold colors, carrying the banner of putting the American people first, not the pale pastels of the warmed over corporatism of people like Nikki Haley.
Really?
Well, I thought that was his best answer so far, honestly.
Really?
Because Governor DeSantis mentioned the gas tax, you do want to eliminate the federal gas tax. And that tax generated approximately $40 billion in 2022 and helps pay for road construction and repair. So how would you fix America's roads and bridges if you take that money away?
Well, first of all, bless his heart, DeSantisLies.com. We have never raised a tax. I've never raised a tax at all. I can tell you
Governor DeSantis. So I can
tell you
that we killed the gas tax multiple times. But what we said is if you want to raise the gas tax, you have to reduce the income tax by 5 times that amount. They didn't want to do it. We've killed taxes every step of the way. But if he's going to talk about his economy, I think what we should say is, why does Florida have the highest property insurance in the country? Why is it that it is named the American hotspot for inflation? Why is it that his state is now known to have the highest cost of living
premiums going
increases?
up? It's because so many people are moving to Florida at once.
No longer afford to live.
The state has been such a wild success.
So that's the first thing I'll say. We don't need him doing that to our country. When it comes to the gas tax, when we eliminate that federal tax, the money is collected in the states and they send it to the feds. The feds attach a lot of strings to it and send it back. 75% comes from the state, 25% comes from the federal government. What they do when they add those strings is they pay for a lot of things that aren't roads, green spaces, sidewalks, all of those things, but they attach strings. I want that money to stay in the states. I want the states to be able to decide how to spend it. I don't want Washington bureaucrats deciding what we need. for scenery and green space and all those other things. I want every state, including the state of Iowa, to make the decisions on how they spend their road spending instead of the federal government.
Governor DeSantis, your response?
Well, she kind of admitted that she did try to raise the gas tax, and she's on video saying this. I know she'll say it. She never said it, but she
you
did.
Snipped it.
She
that.
did.
You
she
took
did
a little
do it.
piece
She
of
did
that. That is
she
not
also,
true.
She also
You
raised taxes. She raised taxes when she was in South Carolina. That's on the record. And she even proposed a tax on groceries at one point. But I'm just thinking, have you seen your grocery bill lately? That's one of the things that's hitting working people the most, that groceries are going up probably twice as much what you do. But I also think it's important that we lift people up. So in Florida, we eliminated all sales tax on every baby item. Diapers, wipes, strollers, cribs. We want families to be able to prosper in this country. One of the things that's causing so much problem is the breakdown in the American family. We've done a lot in Florida to be able to rejuvenate that, but we need to make it easier for people to raise children in this country so that we can have strong families in a strong country.
Governor DeSantis,
I know. That's why this debate kind of
CNN
sucks so far. It's like
last week you said you support a
doesn't
flat
seem
tax,
right.
which is a single income tax rate for every American. Under your plan, would working families pay the same tax rate as billionaires?
I would only do it if people are better off than they are now. I mean, I want people paying less taxes. Actually, if you think the last year we have numbers for, the federal government took in the highest percentage of taxes from the economy since World War II. And yet they're going deep into debt. We have a spending problem in this country. It's not a tax problem in this country. And if you had something that was simple and transparent, not only would that be better for economic growth, it's also better to end the weaponization of government. The IRS has been weaponized against conservatives going back to the Obama administration. I was there for that. No one's been held accountable for doing that. You look at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Department of Justice, the weaponization of federal power ends the day I become the president of the United States. There's going to be a new sheriff in town. We're going to restore the constitutional accountability that our founding fathers envisioned when they formatted the Constitution. And, you know, I've talked to folks who have overbearing federal agencies. I mean, you have farmers who have EPA coming on their farmland because there's maybe a puddle there, waters of the United States. Give me a break. So we're going to reduce the size of government, but we're also going to reduce the scope of government. And in Florida, I've actually delivered on this. Florida has the lowest percentage of state government workers per capita in the country, and the cost of our state government employees is the lowest in the country. No wonder why we're paying down debt while we're cutting taxes for people. That's the way you do it.
Governor DeSantis, 15-second point of clarification. The question was whether or not working families would pay the same amount.
They would pay less than what they're paying now. The way I view it is, okay, you'd exempt people, so you would pay no tax for working class people. It would only be as you get above, because I think the first 40, 50 grand, that's just to subsist. And even some places you can't even do that. So you would have no tax up to a certain point, and then it would just be a single rate. So if somebody makes $100,000, they pay a certain amount. If someone makes $200,000, they make twice as much, and they pay twice as much.
Governor Haley,
I mean, first of all, you just trust what he says. I mean, that's the biggest thing. We don't have a grocery tax in South Carolina, and I never once raised taxes, period. But what I will tell you is, it is to call into question, why did he promise he'd never raise the debt limit, and he turned around and he raised it? And then you want to go and you see one side of what he says early on, and then he changes it. So here he goes and he says that he is all for energy independence. He wants to get the EPA out of the way. Well, why did he run on the fact that he wanted to ban fracking and ban offshore drilling?
Thanks, Leah.
Why did he go and author that legislation to eliminate the renewable fuel standard that matters so much? And why now is he suddenly coming to Iowa and saying, oh, never mind, I don't mean all of that? Why did he call Trump and say that he wanted him to stop drilling 9 miles into federal waters? Why is he now saying this? Why do you come to the people of Iowa and say one thing when you campaigned and on day 2 of your office, you banned fracking, you banned offshore drilling, you turned around and authored and led the charge on banning the renewable fuel standard? Yeah. You've got to stand up for those things.
You've been beating that dead horse. That's been debunked multiple times.
Ron, it's true.
We're looking forward to be able to open up energy production, and definitely here in the Midwest with biofuels. I'm the only one that that checked all the boxes from the Iowa Renewable Fuel Standard, because I've actually visited all 99 counties. I've actually shown up to people's farms. I've sat and I've listened to people about what they're going through, how their economy is structured, and how it's important that we're producing energy here in the United States. I never want to go hat in hand like Biden has done to Venezuela or Saudi and begging for energy. We're going to be able to open up production. We're going to choose Midland over Moscow. We're going to choose the Marcellus Shale over the mullahs, and we're going to choose the Bakken over Beijing. Energy independence isn't even, it's good for consumers. It's good to reduce inflation. And it's one of the best things we can do for our national security.
Hey, dude, welcome to the party.
Day one, and we are going to reverse Biden's Green New Deal and the electric vehicle mandates. Will save the American automobile.
Thank you, Governor.
He's going full Jesse Jackson
one
mode.
of the biggest years for illegal border crossings into the United States. Last month alone, 225,000 migrants illegally crossed the southern border. It's a record high, overwhelming the Border Patrol resources that are already stretched thin. Mayors across the country say their cities are being pushed to a breaking point. Governor DeSantis, former President Trump famously promised to build a wall on the southern border. He obviously did not get that done. You have promised to finish the job. How will you succeed where he failed?
We will build a wall. We will actually have Mexico pay for it in the way that I thought Donald Trump was. We're going to charge fees on remittances that workers send to foreign countries, billions of dollars. We'll build the wall. He also promised record deportations. Donald Trump deported fewer people than Barack Obama did when he was president. Biden's let in 8 million people just in 4 years. They all have to go back. We have to enforce the rule of law in this
it's
country.
on HBO
Think about
Max.
what's happening to our country. Just this week, we saw the news that a school in Brooklyn, New York, had the kids stay home. They were not able to go to school, told you can't go get an in-person education. Why? Because the city's commandeering the school to house illegal aliens in it. Talk about putting Americans last. You're putting these kids out of an education because you can't control the border. Biden has failed in this endeavor. He has not taken care that the laws of this country be faithfully executed. Do not trust Nikki Haley with illegal immigration. That's like having the fox guard the hen house. She's on tape at the Aspen Institute. She'll say she didn't say it. She was chastising conservatives, saying it's disrespectful to illegal aliens to say that they're criminals. They're violating the law. It's disrespectful when people come to this country illegally and impose burdens on our communities and run drugs into this country. That's what's disrespectful. She's weak on immigration. She's bankrolled by people who want open borders. And she said there shouldn't be a limit on immigration. You should work with corporate CEOs.
Thanks, Governor.
That is pale pastel.
Yeah, she mentioned corporations.
Oh,
to
doing
be.
the pastel metaphor again. No.
Governor
I thought that
DeSantis
answer
and also
overall, though, was
Donald
good.
Trump,
I hated
attacking you for that comment in 2015 in which you said undocumented immigrants should not be called, quote, criminals. At the time, the full context is you said, quote,
1 second.
we don't need to talk about them as criminals. They're not. They're families that want a better life and they're desperate to get here, unquote. Do you still feel that way?
I saw them. When I was at the United Nations, I saw them. That doesn't mean we should let them into our country. I mean, first of all, I will tell you that when I was governor of South Carolina, we passed the toughest illegal immigration law in the country. Obama sued us over it, and we won. We fought Obama on illegal immigration. We fought Obama on migrant kids. We fought Obama on Syrian refugees. We fought Obama on Guantanamo Bay prisoners. I have always said we are a country of laws. The second we stop being a country of laws, we give up everything.
And if something is against the law,
but I will tell you, in passing that toughest illegal immigration law in the country,
well, all of your laws start to become meaningless when you don't call the people breaking them criminals.
Businesses have to prove that the people they hire are in this country legally. I passed it within 6 months of being governor. Ron didn't pass it for 5 years. He only waited to pass it when he decided to run for president. What we need to do is not just ban a wall. We need to put 25,000 Border Patrol and ICE agents on the ground and let them do their job. We need to defund sanctuary cities once and for all. No more safe havens for illegal immigrants. We need to make sure we go back to the Remain in Mexico policy so that no one even steps foot on U.S. soil. And instead of catch and release, we need to go to catch and deport. That's the only way we'll stop the incentives of these illegal immigrants coming across. Biden turned around and gave 500,000 Venezuelans temporary protective status. That's 500,000 driver's licenses, 500,000 social security numbers. All that does is incentivize them to pick up the phone, call their family members, and tell them to come
Governor DeSantis.
She did bring when she was governor, she did bring Syrian refugees, and she got criticized for that.
That is not
she
true.
Also in her comment,
DeSantisLies.com.
That is not true.
We'll give you your turn in a second. Governor DeSantis.
It's noted. So the disrespect comment, she's talking about that they're all families. If you look right now at the border, these are military-age males, many of them, and they're coming from all across this world, not just from Central America. In fact, you've got them from China, Iran, Russia, the Middle East. When I was down there a couple of years ago, because I've sent people down there, you had people from Libya and Haiti. This is a ticking time bomb for this country. There are, of course, going to be terrorist cells that have come in. It's like the lowest cost way to be able to harm this country. Just send people across the southern border. Nikki Haley also opposed the border wall in 2016. She said that she ridiculed it when Donald Trump was president. I'm telling you, you need a wall. You can't trust politicians to do this. If the wall's there, it's a physical fact of life, and it's a huge step to restoring this country's
Thank you, Governor DeSantis. Governor Haley?
Go to DeSantisLies.com.
What's that, 5?
I said you can't just build a wall. You have to do more than build a wall. It was having the wall and everything else. You can't trust what Ron's saying.
DeSantis is also
going
to wage
a bigger issue.
literally
This is
a war
more
on
than
the
him
cartels.
just constantly being desperate and throwing things on me. This is the fact that we have to realize my parents came here illegally. They came the right way 50 years ago. They put in the time, they put in the price. They are offended by what's happening on the border. And my mom would always say, if they don't follow the laws to come into this country, they won't follow the laws when they are in this country. And we have to start treating this like it is. This is putting harm on our schools, on our hospitals. Taxpayers are paying for it. You see these mayors are now upset about it. The only reason Eric Adams is now upset, why? He shouldn't be a sanctuary city then. That's why we have to defund sanctuary cities. Now, Governor Abbott finally did to them what's been happening to Texas for so long.
All the rest of us have to fucking reap it.
It's dangerous, and it doesn't even count the fentanyl that's
Governor DeSantis. There are more than 10 million undocumented immigrants already living in the United States,
I need a commercial break
Pew Research.
People.
Will any of them be allowed to stay in the United States under your administration?
The number of people that will be amnestied when I'm president is 0. We cannot do an amnesty in this country. First of all, it's going to do is cause more people to want to come illegally. So you got to enforce the law. It's got to be consistent. People got to know it's there. You also have to remove benefits for people who are here illegally. You know, California, you can go illegal alien and you get free health insurance coverage. You're here illegally, and they're doing
that they're going to cover sex change surgery now too for illegal immigrants.
These benefits, you know, in Florida, obviously we don't do that. We don't allow the driver's license and all
that.
But
in California,
some states do, and it creates a magnet for people coming in. So federally, no benefits, no enticements.
I only saw one
in,
source about
and then
that.
The
I haven't really
states,
looked into
we're going
it,
to crack
but
down
I
on
did see
sanctuary states and sanctuary cities, and I showed the hypocrisy of all this back in 2022, because we have a program to transport illegal aliens to sanctuary jurisdictions. And one of the places we sent 50 to, beautiful, liberal Martha's Vineyard. And you know what?
One of the
These
best
are
stunts
folks that
ever.
were on their high horse, saying how they were a sanctuary jurisdiction, saying nobody's illegal, all refugees are welcome. That's what they had in their town. The minute even 50 came up, they called a state of emergency and deported them off the island the next day. How do you think Texas feels? How do you think all these other communities feel that are overwhelmed?
They had them removed from the island the next day.
We cannot have liberal elites in this country imposing policies on the rest of us that they are not willing to deal with the consequences.
We're a nation of immigrants, not in my neighborhood.
The left loves illegal immigration until the second they have to deal with it.
Be allowed to stay in the country under your administration?
You have to deport them. And the reason you have to deport them is they're cutting the line. You've got people who have done this and try to go through the right way. You can't have them go and jump the line and suddenly do that. And that is actually what will get them to stop coming, is when they do realize they get to the wall and they have to turn around and go back. It's a dangerous process of what happens for them to try and migrate here. But when I was at the United Nations and we had this, which is another reason why we need to have Trump here defending himself and talking about what he would do going in the future, because it's a problem. I was on the ground in Honduras and Guatemala, and what we saw is a lot of the reason why they were coming from there is because of gangs and drugs. And so what we did was we had our military go and train them on how to deal with gangs. We went and put drug boats on the water to keep the drugs from coming. But we said, you have to have them processed from here. You can't have them come. We were able to stop that flow. We've got to go back to do that. But
Thanks,
we need
Jeremy.
to end it once and for all. Donald Trump didn't do that. That's why he needs to be here debating on the stage right now.
Governor, thank you. Let's turn to foreign policy. You have expressed different visions for how the U.S. should approach the international conflicts. And I want to start with Ukraine. It's been nearly 2 years since Russia invaded Ukraine, and there is still no end in sight to that war. Governor Haley, you say that this is a, quote, war about freedom that Ukraine must win. Governor DeSantis says, quote, we need to bring this war to an end. Do you believe he shares your commitment to a Ukrainian victory?
Nobody knows what he believes, because when President Obama was in office, he supported foreign aid to Ukraine. Now he's copying Trump and trying to act like he doesn't want to support Ukraine. But let me tell you why Ukraine should matter. First of all, I don't think we should give cash to any country, friend or foe, because you can't follow it. You can't hold it accountable.
Like,
I don't think we need to put troops on the ground, and Ukrainians want to win this themselves. But dictators always do what they say they're going to do. China said they were going to take Hong Kong. They did. Russia said they were going to invade Ukraine. We watched it. China says Taiwan is next. We better believe them. Russia said once they take Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next. Those are NATO countries, and that puts America at war. This is about preventing war. It's always been about preventing war. If we support Ukraine, that's only 3.5% of our defense budget. Biden and no one else is telling the American people the truth about that. The Europeans have put in more than that, and they should. It's their neighborhood.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
But this is a pro-American, freedom-loving country.
Chrissy and Lila
we better remember that you have to be a friend to get a friend. And we needed a lot of friends September 12th. We've got to make sure that we're having the backs of the right friends, because if Russia wins, China wins. There's a reason the Taiwanese want us to help the Ukrainians. And that's because they know if Ukraine wins, China won't invade Taiwan. This is about preventing war.
Governor DeSantis.
I supported Trump's policy vis-a-vis Russia, Ukraine, and it was successful. The Biden policy has not been, but Nikki Haley is basically a carbon copy of what Biden is. It's an open-ended commitment. They want another $108 billion. They will not tell you when they have achieved their goal, and this is going to go on.
Or what their goal is.
They haven't stated the goal. I think a lot of people have died. We need to find a way to end this, because our priorities for national security, of course, the border, which we talked about, and people like Nikki Haley care more about Ukraine's border than she does about our own southern border, which is wrong. But we also have to look at what's the top threat to this country. It's the Chinese Communist Party. We are not doing what we need to do to have adequate hard power in the Indo-Pacific. And here's the thing. We don't have enough resources, being $35 trillion in debt, to continue doing hundreds of billions of dollars. We got to focus on our issues here at home, and we've got to deal with the top threat that we face, which is China.
And then I wonder why you raised the debt when you were in Congress, because we're all paying for that. What I will tell you is this is the lie they're telling the American people over and over again. It is so wrong to say this. They're saying you have to choose between Ukraine or Israel, and securing the border. Supporting Ukraine is 3.5% of our budget. I don't want cash going. It's equipment and it's ammunition. If we support Ukraine and Israel, that's only 5% of our defense budget.
So you're going to borrow that?
If we support Ukraine, Israel, and secure the border, that's less than 20% of Biden's subsidies. You do not have to choose when it comes to national security. This is about keeping Americans safe. This is about preventing war. This is about keeping our military men and women from having to fight a war. And you only do that when you focus on national security, not telling lies to the American people that they have to choose. That is wrong. That's never been the case.
So here's the problem with what you're saying. She doesn't articulate how this comes to an end, except she was asked after the last debate by, I believe, Megyn Kelly, and she said, you bring it to an end by bringing Ukraine into NATO. But of course, we're a NATO country. So if you bring Ukraine into NATO, that puts the United States at war. Megyn said that to her, and then she basically gave a word salad as to how you go from there. So they have sent cash. She supports this $106 billion that they're trying to get through Congress. Where's some of that money going? They've done tens of billions of dollars to pay salaries for Ukrainian government bureaucrats. They've paid pensions for Ukrainian retirees with your tax dollars. We've got homeless veterans. We have all these problems. This is the UN way of thinking, that we're somehow globalists and we have unlimited resources to do. You know, I think here's the problem. You can take the ambassador out of the United Nations, but you can't take the United Nations out of the ambassador.
First
Is that
of all,
true?
I have never said that we should give
Our money's going to
salaries or
pensions
benefits or anything else
in
to
Ukraine?
Ukrainians. I've said it again, Ron, so stop lying.
Ooh.
DeSantis
Supported
lies.
the aid
Governor
packages.
DeSantis, she has the floor.
So I did not support the aid package. I support equipment and ammunition going to Ukraine. I think it is incredibly important that we're honest and say we have to focus on national security. Don't go and lie to the American people to make them think we can't do this. You turn around and raise the debt limit. You're the one that's talked about, look at what you did to Florida, but think about the fact that he's talking about where's this money going to come from. The best way to tell about a candidate is to see how they've run their campaign. He has blown through $150 million. I don't even know how you do that.
You've blown through 100.
I don't know how you do that. Let's send billions to Ukraine.
Private planes than he has on commercials trying to get Iowans to vote for him. If you can't manage a campaign, how are you going to manage a country? Which is exactly.
Well, listen, I'm proud that in the state of Florida, we're ranked number one for economy of all 50 states by CNBC, number one for education. She was ranked number 50 in education when she was governor of California.
I didn't know that.
Able to do school choice. She didn't deliver big tax cuts. We're also number one for net in-migration, number one for GDP growth amongst large states, number one for talent development, number one for new business formations, and on it goes. So the success we've had in Florida,
Jeremy says what we're all
cite the statistics. It's important, but just look how people are voting with their feet. They're leaving California. They're leaving Illinois, New York, all these states, and they're coming to Florida in record numbers because we're doing it right. And not only have I cut taxes big time where she didn't, and governor of South Carolina, we've paid down 25% of our state's debt. That's how you manage the third largest state in this country. Just imagine if we could do that for the United States of America.
So thank you. Let's stay on foreign policy.
Talk about policies and roast the other person.
Commercial.
You both have said that you unequivocally support Israel. You both have called for the complete elimination of Hamas. Governor DeSantis, there are real disagreements within Israel about how to handle what happens in Gaza after the war against Hamas is over. Some Israeli cabinet officials are pushing for the mass removal of Palestinians from Gaza. Governor Haley told CNN last week she does not support that. Do you?
So we got to support Israel in word and in deed, in public and in private. And they need to be able to finish the job. Joe Biden is kneecapping him. He'll say one thing, then he goes, and his base doesn't like Israel, so he's got to do all these other things. This is a time to recognize that they suffered the most deaths of Jews, murder of Jews since the Holocaust. Hamas wants a second Holocaust. They want to annihilate the state of Israel. So I think to be a good ally, you back them in the decisions that they're making with respect to Gaza. Look, there's a lot of pluses and minuses with how you're doing
have
this.
A good
but
time.
For us to be sitting in Washington, second guessing them, I don't think that's the right way. We also have a disagreement, Governor Haley and I. When she was at the UN, she supported the idea of a two-state solution between Israel and the Palestinian Arabs. The problem with that is the Palestinian Arabs don't recognize Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. So doing a two-state solution doesn't create something that's going to lead to a lasting peace. It creates a stepping stone for Israel's destruction. So under no circumstances, as president, am I going to pressure Israel to risk their security to do a so-called two-state solution. She was wrong when she embraced that, and we're right to say we trust Israel to make these decisions. They're a good ally of ours. We should trust their judgment on these sensitive issues.
Governor DeSantis, 15 seconds.
I totally agree with that.
Do you support the mass removal of Palestinians from Gaza?
So as president, I am not going to tell them to do that. I think there's a lot of issues with that. But if they make the calculation that to avert a second Holocaust, they need to do that. I think some of these Palestinian Arabs, Saudi Arabia should take some. Egypt should take some. They've never been willing to accept any of these folks in their own neighborhood.
How about we stop funding?
Well, first of all, we need to understand the reason we need to support Israel is Israel's a bright spot in a tough neighborhood. They are the tip of the spear when it comes to defeating terrorism. It has never been that Israel needs America. It has always been that America needs Israel.
too much.
When I was at the United Nations, I fought every day for Israel. And if you would have listened to what I said at the United Nations, a two-state solution wasn't something that was possible because Israel would always come to the table and the Palestinians wouldn't. But right now, we have to make sure that Israel has the support that it needs. There should be three things. Give Israel whatever it wants to get the job done. Two, eliminate Hamas once and for all.
Israel.
And three, do whatever it takes to bring the hostages home. But it's really rich that Ron is going to act like he suddenly cares for Israel when he brought the person to Iowa that's the most anti-Israel Republican in the state, the person that went and voted against Israel's right to exist in Congress, the person that voted with the squad against anti-Semitism on college campuses.
Thank you, Governor.
And you brought that person to Iowa to go and
I will say Thomas Massie, amazing record, and then out of nowhere he did that. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, that's just cheap garbage. But here's the thing: when the attacks happened against Israel, I knew it was going to be a big deal for Florida. We have one of the largest Israeli American populations in the country, and we've been a haven for Orthodox Jews in particular since I've been governor. And you know what? Biden wasn't helping Americans get out of the war zone. These are people that were stranded. So I did an executive order. We scrambled planes and we rescued over 700 Americans from Israel and brought them back safely to the state of Florida. You got to step up and you got to lead when things like this are happening. We also have gone after the anti-Semitism on our campuses. We did that early in my administration. You didn't see our college presidents doing some of the things that you've seen. I just announced in the State of the State address yesterday or 2 days ago that we are going to say, and not just for Jewish students, anyone who's having religious being persecuted or being marginalized because of their faith.
Oh, he's walking that back now.
Around the country, we're going to waive the transfer requirements so that people can come to Florida and be safe. What they are doing to these Jewish students has been reprehensible. We're not going to let it happen.
So there are. I'm coming to you.
Commercial
there are
break.
growing fears of this war escalating into a broader regional conflict. And Governor Haley, just yesterday, the U.S. Navy shot down 21 missiles and drones fired by Iranian-backed militants in the Red Sea. Iranian-backed militants are now also attacking U.S. and Western interests in Syria and Iraq. Your fellow South Carolinian Republican Senator Lindsey Graham is calling for the U.S. to conduct retaliatory strikes inside Iran. Would you order strikes inside Iran?
Well, first of all, notice Ron didn't say anything about the fact that he did bring that most anti-Israel Republican into this state to campaign. He also hasn't told you that the only Republican Jewish state legislator left his campaign because he wasn't dealing with the neo-Nazi marches and wasn't dealing with anti-Semitism properly. When it comes to Iran, what we have to understand, there would be no Hamas without Iran. There would not be Houthis
I just need a break from
There wouldn't be Hezbollah without Iran. And when you look at the strikes that are happening in Iraq and Syria, that is because of Iran. They're pulling the puppet strings. What we need to do is the idea that we've had over 130 strikes on our men and women in Iraq and Syria is unconscionable. We're supposed to have their backs. And Biden has been slow. He's been hiding in a corner and he hasn't dealt with it. We need to go and take out every bit of the production that they had that's allowing them to do those strikes. It's hugely important that we do that. And you can't do that if you have a Secretary of Defense that is in ICU and the president doesn't even know about it. What bothers me is how does Biden not talk to his Secretary of Defense every single day, knowing that we have a war in Europe, a war in the Middle East, that we have our American military with strikes going on. We've got brain injuries. My husband is deployed right now. As a military spouse, the idea that the Secretary of Defense would not even be in contact with the president, much less in contact with his staff, is unforgivable.
Governor,
it's like when Pete Buttigieg disappeared for 2 months and no one noticed.
After the attacks against Israel, anyone with half a brain knows Iran is behind this. They fund Hamas. They fund Hezbollah. We did a special session of the legislature down in Florida. We expanded sanctions against Iran. If we were our own country, we'd be the 14th largest economy in the world. The root of this is Biden came into office and he relaxed the sanctions on Iran. They've had massive amounts of money flooding into their country, just like under the Obama administration. They take that money and they use it to fund jihad around the world. I'm the only one running for president that served in the armed forces. I deployed to Iraq back in 2007, 2008. So I understand what our military goes through. I would never put our troops in harm's way like Biden is doing in the Middle East without defending them with everything they got. If you harm a hair on the head of one of our service members, you are going to have hell to pay. He's leaving them out to dry. And I think it's disgraceful for a commander-in-chief to do that.
Thank you, Governor. The CNN Republican presidential debate live from Des Moines, Iowa. We'll be right
Thank
back.
God, commercial break.
Oh God, I gotta run to the bathroom.
Go. I need like a lobotomy or something.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Go. Oh my God. This is horrible. This is horrible. He was good in the Newsom debate and the last one. So I had, oh my God, this is horrible. This is horrible. So chat, let us know where's Sage, where are other Trump correspondents? Let us know what's going on there. It's got to be more exciting than this. This is horrible. It's so frustrating because I love DeSantis as governor. He would be such a good president. I don't understand his campaign. I don't get it. It is maddening. I don't get it. If he didn't have a record that I was familiar with, I wouldn't even consider voting for him. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's so frustrating. I do not get it. This is miserable. Oh, thanks, Beer. I starred that, I think. Dylan, we would be fucked up. Let me find that. Hey, Cody. You are missing nothing if you're not watching the debate. Exactly this. Vivek is doing everything DeSantis should be doing. 150,000%. Beer, I'll pull it up after because my computer gets pissy if I have multiple things. Should go to DeSantisLies.com. Bobby! Thank you so much for the super chat, my darling. Yeah, me too. I agree with what Will said that he's possibly full of shit, but I'm at the point where, like, I don't care. It would be like a 50-50 shot, I think, of whether he would do the things that he says if he got into office. But at this point, I would friggin' take those odds. The only thing with Vivek is he's not running. I don't think he's running to win. I think he's running to go with Trump. Well, this is what I don't understand. If he was going to run this campaign, then yeah, he should have waited. I think this was the perfect time to run for him. And I think he had a much better shot than people claim, but not with this campaign. Are you finding this as insufferable as I am?
So far, it's not good.
No. This is as bad as, so you guys, there was one debate that we didn't stream and Will and I watched it over Zoom. It felt like it was 5 hours long. It was a slog. And
don't get me wrong. I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
How dare you?
No, I don't get me wrong. DeSantis has had some good answers tonight, but there's just something, I don't know what it is. There's something that's like off. I didn't like the beginning at all when it was just them versus each other with stupid crap. Like, at least we're discussing more policy stuff now. But
I'm watching the X-Files. I'd rather be watching the X-Files. And I've never even seen the X-Files. I'm gonna watch.
You know what's funny? So I went to the bathroom just now. I ran into Cooper.
Are you gonna describe it to us?
No, I went in. When I walked out, I ran into Cooper, and he said Nikki Haley needs to go back to the kitchen.
I love Cooper. What was I looking for? Yeah, most scripted debate. DeSantis at the beginning sounded like he was crying. I was saying when you were gone, if I didn't know DeSantis's record, I would never even consider him. Like, I'm literally only supporting him based on his record as governor. Definitely not this fucking campaign.
That's annoying. It's the annoying thing is I was thinking this, we were watching it. Some of the answers, I feel like I could answer it better talking about wrong than he could.
You do.
Like, it's frustrating. Some of the things he's saying. I'm like, you could be saying better things here that you've done.
Sage, I'm just going to say it and embrace my internal misogyny. I don't want a woman president unless it's Mike's mom. She would take no shit.
Oh my God. Your mom as president would be great, but scary.
Oh yeah, she's vengeful.
You'd be seeing Fangool all the time.
Oh, yay. It's back.
Here we go. We're back. Is this an hour and a half debate? Is this how long it is?
Let's talk about the
halftime
question in the Republican Party right now. And that is, what is the role of government? And should it use its power to go after businesses and private entities that take actions that don't align with conservative values? Governor DeSantis, you used your powers in Florida to take on Disney after the company criticized an education bill that you signed into law. How does that square with the traditional conservative view that small, limited government is best?
This is such bullshit.
The proper role of government, if it means anything, it's to protect our kids. And I've stood for the innocence of our kids.
And the will of voters.
It is wrong.
Disney's trying to undermine the will of voters.
It's wrong. And look, my wife and I, we've got a first grader, a kindergartner, and a preschooler. This is something that's important to us personally. It's wrong to tell a kindergartner, like Disney wanted to do, that you can change your gender, or tell a third grader that you're born in the wrong body. So I stood up against, the media didn't like it, the left didn't like it, and Disney didn't like it. And they're the 800-pound gorilla in the state of Florida. Most people, most corporate Republicans would have caved. I stood and I fought for the kids. We took on Disney and we defeated that, and we won that fight, and our kids are better off. Now, Nikki Haley sided with Disney. She invited them to South Carolina, even though they were involved in transing kids. That is not what we need to do. But I think that's similar. She is representative of this corporatist element of the party. For example, she supported $900 million in subsidies to Boeing when she was in South Carolina. And then when she got out of office, she took a seat on their board and she made millions of dollars. Then she gave speeches, paid speeches to a lot of Wall Street interests, didn't publish what she said. We don't know what she promised them. And she made millions of dollars doing that.
I just don't think anybody
they're
cares
the ones that are
about
funding
this
her
shit.
campaign. So we need to stand up for
talk about her saying corporations should determine immigrant quotas. That's a big thing.
Will cave
Thank
to the woke
you,
mob
free
every
thinker.
single time.
Governor Haley, a response?
Yeah, that's true.
Government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never meant to be all things to all people. And what we don't need is government politicizing anything. The first thing I'll say is, again, DeSantisLies.com, because I have never said anything related to the transgender stuff he says. I have always fought to protect kids. I've always said that boys need to go into boys' bathrooms, girls need to go into girls' bathrooms, that we shouldn't have any gender transitions before the age of 18. Just like we don't have tattoos before the age of 18, we shouldn't have gender transformation or puberty blockers. But I will tell you that it's really interesting that Ron talks about this Disney, because Disney has been woke for a long time. They were against the immigration situation that Trump was doing. They were against the Paris Climate Agreement when I did it. They were against the pro-life bill in Georgia. Ron didn't have.
We should be against the Paris Climate Agreement.
The largest corporate subsidies in Florida history. He had a tech exemptions that he gave. Didn't give any tech exemptions to anybody but Disney. Yet when they went and criticized him, he
took away Disney's private privileges. What are you talking about?
We don't need government fighting against our private industries. We are not woke in South Carolina. I will always invite businesses to come to South Carolina. But
I'm sorry, Nikki, but Florida is actually where woke goes to die.
And that can't happen. And Ron is determined. Anybody that offends him, he goes after them, and he'll use government.
She just said she's always fought to protect kids, but when she was governor of South Carolina, they had a bill to protect girls from men going into the bathroom. She killed it, and she's bragged about it for years that happened. She didn't stand up and fight the kids.
On video.
To the Chamber of Commerce and the corporation. She said she's against the surgeries for minors. That wasn't what she said this summer. She was asked about it.
7.
And she said the law should stay out of it. I criticized her in the last debate. She took a lot of heat. So then she's flipped and said that there now should be a law involved. She said she supports a federal law. I'm glad she's come to the right thing. But here's the deal. It goes back to that young kid in the town hall that she had, where he said, Nikki Haley, you are the new John Kerry. You're for it before you are against it.
It's a shame that we had to put up DeSantisLies.com. Honestly, if he would spend as much time trying to prove why he thinks he would be a good president, he would be doing a lot better in the polls. The reason that he spent and blown through $150 million and gone down in the polls is because he spent more time trying to lie about me than he is about.
If he's such a non-threat, why are you and Trump spending $44 million on just DeSantis attack ads?
that we should have
Why are you
any
making
gender
websites?
operations or
said the
surgeries. You're
law should
lying
stay out
about
of it.
that.
Governor Haley has
When
the
it
floor.
comes to
Dodging
the
it so
bathroom
hard.
bill, I
They
will
should
say,
let them
first of
banter.
all,
They should let them
that
banter.
was 10 years ago. We had a handful of kids that
It's a
may have
trauma
had that
killers.
issue. And what I made very clear at
She
that
admits
time
it
in the
now.
state is girls go into girls' bathrooms, boys go into boys' bathrooms. And if there are any other exceptions, they use a private bathroom. I have fought for women's sports and making sure that biological boys are not women's sports, and I'll continue to do that. I have always said we have to raise strong girls. Strong girls become strong women. Strong women become strong leaders.
Thank you,
None of
Governor.
that happens if we have
Thank you,
biological
Governor. So,
boys.
Governor Haley.
What is a strong
Governor
woman?
Haley, according to the U.S. Department of Education, in 2017,
I need
the
another
year you
drink.
left office, South Carolina schools ranked in the bottom 10 nationwide in both reading and math scores. Given that, why should voters concerned about K through 12 education support you rather than other Republicans?
Because I think what we did was we knew that there was an issue. We knew in South Carolina, if a child couldn't read by 3rd grade, they were 4 times less likely to graduate high school. So what we did is we started holding kids back instead of pushing them forward. We brought in their parents. We did reading remediation, and we set them up for success. We've got to do that all over our country. We only have 31% of 8th graders in our country are proficient in reading. 27% of 8th graders are proficient in math. If we don't do something, we're going to be in a world of hurt 10 years from now. That's why I want to take as many federal programs from DC as we can and send them down to the state level. Think education. We can move a lot of K through 12 programs down to the state level, reduce the strings that are attached, and that way states can handle it themselves. People in Iowa know best what types of education they need. Secondly, parents should decide what types of education their children get, what mode of education. And we should have complete transparency in the classroom. No parent should ever wonder what's being said or taught to their child in the classroom. That's why we'll have all of the curriculums online for every parent to see. And we need to start putting vocational classes back in our high schools. Let's teach our kids how to do things. We did that in South Carolina. We had apprenticeships. We taught our kids how to build the things we're making. When we start putting education back in the states and away from DC, that's when we'll start to see that we're going back to the basics. We're doing what parents want, and we're doing what the industries in that state need.
Well, thank you, Governor DeSantis. I'm coming to you right now. Governor DeSantis, you have supported limits on what subjects can be taught and how, including American history, in Florida schools. You've also made it easier to remove books from public school libraries. You say you want to, quote, make America Florida. Do you want to implement those Florida school policies nationwide?
Good question.
I'll get to that in a sec. So Nikki Haley said she wants parents to decide on the education.
Saying that.
She campaigned for governor saying she was going to do school choice to be able to give private scholarships, particularly to low-income families. And she was governor and never did it. She caved to the teachers union. I delivered the biggest school choice expansion in the history of the United States. We beat the teachers union. We've even done paycheck protection so that teachers aren't forced to do dues, and now they're choosing other things. So we've done it right in Florida, and the results speak for themselves. We have one of the top performing 4th grade reading and math in the country. And if you just took our charter school population, 365,000 kids, disproportionately low income, racial ethnic minorities, if they were their own state, they'd be in the top 5 in performance. Everyone can succeed, but you got to have a leader who's going to fight the teachers unions and is going to deliver school choice. Governor Kim Reynolds did that here in Iowa, who's endorsed me. Nikki Haley did not. She failed. And if she can't do it in the reddest state in the country of South Carolina, how are you going to be able to succeed in Washington, D.C.? Now, in terms of what we've done, we believe in empowering parents, and there's certain standards about what's age and developmentally appropriate. It's wrong to have pornographic materials in 4th or 5th grade. And you know what's happened? They'll go to school board meetings all around the country. They'll start reading it, and they say, oh, no, it's too graphic. You can't read it here. You can't put it on the 6 o'clock news. Well, if it's not appropriate in a school board meeting and you can't put on the 6 o'clock news, why are you jamming it down the throats of a 4th grader?
So, Governor, just a point of clarification. Do you want to implement Florida's education policies nationwide?
It depends on the policy. School choice, universal, yes. I don't want a nationalized curriculum. I think that that's a bottom-up thing. I want to get rid of the Federal Department of Education, get that weight off the backs of the state and local governments. But we are going to do
so far.
I agree with everything you just said.
Corporate tax credits, and that's going to bail out a lot of poor kids throughout this country.
Governor Haley?
You know,
that was good.
I have fought for school choice in my entire career, because I think parents know their children best, and I think we should always do that. That's why we passed charter school legislation in our state. That's why we empowered homeschoolers in our state. That's why we changed the funding formula, so we lifted up challenged areas without bringing down the wealthy areas. We wanted school choice. I had a Republican legislature that wouldn't do it, but we pushed hard to get that done. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it across the country, but what we have to do is we have to make it state-centric. We've got to get these programs down to the state level. We've got to let the focus be on teachers. Teachers right now have to be the guidance counselors, the pastors, the nurses, and everything in between. And oh, by the way, they have to teach to a test. That's not what teachers want. Teachers want to do what they were taught to do. And that means math, science, reading, history, English, arts. That's it. Schools can't be all things to all kids. They need to let the parents parent. They need to let teachers teach. And we need to go back to the basics in education so we get our kids.
Thank you.
That was the problem, though. That word salad is the problem.
Governor DeSantis.
She's always supported school choice, and she failed to deliver. She blames other people. Leadership is about getting things done. Stop making excuses. Make it happen.
Yes.
If leadership's about getting things done, how did you blow through $150 million in your campaign and you were down in the polls?
So here's
you are
I
not
think
a
this is
manager.
very
No,
instructive.
now I'm going
I
to
think
say
it's very instructive about what
Let him go at it.
Haley sees the world.
I think I have the floor.
Political
Governor
advertisements
DeSantis,
as like that's as important
Governor
as the
DeSantis,
kids and
Governor
their
Haley has the
education.
floor.
What is more important here?
Oh, he
She's
wasn't
saying
gonna
Governor
somehow
DeSantis,
that that's
it's
not as
Governor
important.
Haley's. It's Governor Haley's time. Go ahead.
I think I hit a nerve. What I will tell you is, look, if you can't
Such a
manage
nasty
campaign,
woman.
it's been a
She's so
revolving
annoying.
door of political people in and out of his campaign. You've heard of campaign people
Hit a
going to
nerve every
blows
time
with each
DeSantis
other
talks. You
because
see her
they
face.
can't
She's
all
like,
agree. $150 million, and he spent more on private planes and commercials. I flew commercial. I stayed in residence
Oh,
inns.
fucking
We
ass.
Oh, you're
paid
so
our money.
cool.
We made sure we spent it right, because you have to understand it's not your money, it's other people's money.
Somebody
and you have
find
to
me
know how to
one
handle
picture
it.
of Nikki
If you
Haley
can't handle the
flying
financial
commercial.
On a
part of the
commercial
campaign,
flight.
how's he going to handle the
He
economy
won.
when it comes to the White House? And he goes and he has been demeaning me over and over again, telling lies, DeSantisLies.com, because he thinks it makes him look bigger. But in the one basic thing, you've campaigned for president in one state, you're invisible in New Hampshire, you're invisible in South Carolina, you're in 5th place, you've got $150 million, and you've gone down in the polls in Iowa. Why should we think you can manage or do anything in this country?
Thank you. Governor DeSantis.
This is a great window into leadership because she focused on a lot of political process stuff, things that no voter cares about. And she couldn't tell you why she failed to deliver school choice to people in her state after she promised it. So she says somehow that is the indicative of, no, leadership is about producing results.
Wait, did
we
she say the
produced the
website
results
again?
in Florida. We did universal school choice. We've cut taxes. We banned sanctuary cities. On and on down the line, everything I promised I delivered. She doesn't have a rationale for why she couldn't get it done. That is poor leadership. You look at me, everything I promised I would do, I've delivered, and you can expect nothing less when I'm the president of the United States.
We're gonna move on now.
I need to respond to that.
Go ahead.
So you want to talk about leadership, and he wants to go and demean and put down. Let me tell you what leadership is. Leadership is the fact that I went into South Carolina that had 11% unemployment rate. Leadership is the fact that we turned it into an economic powerhouse, building planes, building cars, building tires. We were named the B.
Florida ranks higher in the economy than your state.
11% unemployment down to 4%.
She's gonna have
We
this
announced
clip with
jobs
some
in
like
every county
girl
in the
boss
state. We
song
moved
playing in the background.
35,000 people on welfare to work. We changed our prison system to where we now have the lowest recidivism rate in the country. We passed voter ID. We passed tort reform. We did pension reform. We paid down our debt. We cut taxes. We made sure
Still not
that people
answering the
were
question
proud
as to
again.
why she
we
didn't
did e-verify in the
get
first
school
6
choice.
months, not 5 years like Ron. So don't go and pick on school choice and say that that's leadership.
Okay.
When I got to the UN, we cut $1 billion off the top, and we took the kick me sign off of our backs, and America was respected again at the UN. I know what
You didn't
leadership
get it
is.
done.
We're moving on to a topic, governors, that both of you have made central to your campaigns, and that is China. Governor Haley, American farmers were hurt by former President Trump's trade war with China. As a result, his administration paid out $28 billion in subsidies to farmers. You have vowed to be even tougher than Donald Trump on China. If your trade policies also end up hurting America's farmers, are you prepared to cut a check just like he did?
Well, that's why Trump should be here on this debate stage. He should have to defend it. So first of all, I've said China is our #1 national security threat. I fought them every single day at the United Nations. I know what they're capable of. The first thing we have to do is we have to make sure we stop selling them any land and we take back the land they already purchased. We need to go to our universities and we say, you either take Chinese money or you take American money, but the days of taking both are over. We need to stop all of the technologies that are going to China. Biden approved 70% of them. Trump approved even more than that. We have to tell them we're going to end all normal trade relations with them until they stop murdering Americans with fentanyl. And we need to make sure we build up our military. But the biggest thing, I was very attached to China in terms of trade. And the one thing we'll do is we won't wait for the China to pull the rug out from under Iowans. What we'll do is instead we will move that trade to where we have friends. We will go and build partnerships. India, Japan, South Korea, Philippines, Australia, Israel. We will go and move that trade over. Right now, you can ask our farmers, when they go and they buy from China, China orders, cancels the order, then goes and tries to buy it cheap. That's what China does. Our farmers deserve better than that. We will get them trade deals. When I was governor in South Carolina, we sold and we exported everything we were making in South Carolina. When I'm president, we will sell and export everything that's being made in Iowa to those that are our friends, not our enemies.
Thank you, Governor DeSantis.
This is like the Phantom Menace of debate.
The way you deal with China is threefold. One, we need more hard power in the Indo-Pacific. I'm a Navy guy. We need more sea power. We're going to build that up. And we're going to have a strategy to deny their ability to invade Taiwan or to get beyond the first island chain. On the current course, they're going to take advantage of Biden, and we're going to rue the day when that happens. Second, we got to decouple our economy, particularly things that are nationally significant to our national survival. And you got to be methodical, strategic about it. There's a lot of moving parts there, but we're going to do that. Nikki Haley's not going to be able to do that because a lot of her supporters make a lot of money in China. And so she's going to talk tough, but she'll cave on that. And then also with here in the United States, she's saying they shouldn't be buying land and be in the universities. When she was governor of South Carolina, the state gave China land and they were in the universities. As governor in Florida, I banned China from buying land and we kicked them out of our universities. That's what you want to do.
DeSantisLies.com.
Oh my God, it's
an
number
economic
10.
development arm. You had an office
Everybody
in Hong Kong.
drink.
On the website, it said that Florida is a great place to do for Chinese companies to do business. And then when we called you out on it, you had the website scrubbed. So we know.
Look at his laws.
What I will tell you is, we need to focus on what we're going to do to become
saving the bathroom bill. He said it's a waste of time. Well, he signed it. You opposed it.
We look at it through a national security lens. When we had COVID, everybody told you to wear a mask. It was made in China. They told you to take a COVID test. You turned it over. It was made in China. If you go down the drugstore aisle,
the virus was made in China.
Made in China. Yeah. We need to make sure we're getting medicines made here, or we need to get it from our friends so that we're not in any way threatened. But I'll tell you, Ron continues to sit there and talk about China.
Buddy.
He has done expansions in China. His biggest donor that is backed by China gave them $340,000. So don't go and talk about donors.
Trying to go after Ron on China is a bad idea.
Look, I know your record hurts. I know your record hurts.
My record doesn't hurt. You're
talking the opposite of what you did. You made a big effort to bring them into the state. They had land near a military base. You were in front of the Chinese flag saying you worked for them. You wrote a love letter to the ambassador. That's well documented. You were the #1 Republican governor in the country. And even people that on the media who are hostile to me, they say they can't find one instance of me as governor recruiting a Chinese company because I haven't done it. It's not been part of that.
Oh, 11.
We actually eliminated. So here's the thing, though. She's backed by companies like BlackRock. She's backed by major companies on Wall Street.
Talk more about that.
They make a lot of money in China. There's a reason why you're in the mess you are in terms of trying to deal with the inflation and everything, because the elites in this country have sold out the middle of the country for China. She is part of that now, and she's not going to stand up for you.
Governor DeSantis, I want to ask about something that you mentioned you've been talking a lot about on the campaign trail, which is decoupling the U.S. economy with China's. China is a top supplier of goods to the United States. The U.S. sells more than $150 billion of goods to China every year. Is it really possible to sever economic ties without inflicting major pain on American business and American consumers?
Sure it is. And it's something that you got to be strategic. You got to be methodical about. You got to focus on the things that are of national significance. For example, I don't think it's a good idea that the pharmaceuticals come from there, things for our military weaponry, all these important things that if we got into a worldwide conflict, what, we're going to ask China, who may be on the other side of that, to continue doing that. So you got to be smart about it. You got to recognize that you're going to have to do some incentives here in this country, tax incentives, regulatory incentives. But I want to make things here again. You know, I look around the country, there's parts of Iowa that have been hollowed out, particularly in the eastern part. And I've talked to folks and seen what that did for the community. We were sold a bill of goods by a lot of elites in this country that somehow putting China in the WTO and granting a most favored nation status was going to lead to our manufacturing exporting a bunch of stuff there. Instead, they've gobbled up so much more manufacturing. I don't think you can be a first-rate power unless you have a very strong industrial base. So we're going to do that here. We're going to work on workforce education. You know, not everyone needs to do a 4-year brick and ivy university. That's not the best way or only way for people to succeed. We're going to do skilled trades. We're going to do vocational. We've done that in Florida. It's going to be a really, really big thing. But I just think the middle of the country has to have those good paying jobs. And we can't put the interests of some of the people on Wall Street over the interests of Americans on Main Street.
Let's move on to Social Security. Let's move on to Social Security. According to the Social Security Administration, Social Security will be unable to pay full benefits in a decade
they ain't gonna answer
if no
this one.
action is taken. Governor DeSantis, you have said that you're not going to, quote, mess with Social Security, unquote. Does that mean you have committed to never raising the retirement age and never cutting benefits?
So all seniors out there, promise has been made to you. You've paid into this. Every single paycheck that you've had your entire life, they've taken money out of, and that promise needs to be fulfilled. So that will happen when I'm president. Of course, I have a lot of seniors in Florida that depend on Social Security. I know many of them. And I think back to my own grandmother who was lived till 91. Social Security was her sole source of income. So promise made, promise kept. You know, on the retirement age, you know, it used to be people would say, well, life expectancy is going up. Shouldn't it mirror that? Well, the problem now in the last 5 years is life expectancy is going down.
They're not doing anything.
So I don't see how you can raise the retirement age when our life expectancy is collapsing in this country. That's a huge problem in and of itself. I'll work with both sides of the aisle. We'll work on something for the long-term strengthening, but I am not going to mess with seniors' benefits. In this high inflation environment, groceries are going through the roof. Rent is going through the roof, all these staples, and you get a cost of living adjustment, but that's not enough to cover the costs that have been increased. So seniors are really strapped, particularly those that are on fixed income, and they have to know that we're going to deliver when it comes to their Social Security check. Now, we're going to get inflation down. We're going to get energy costs down. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to help seniors, but I think seniors should know promise made will be a promise kept.
So just a point of clarification, 15 seconds. Removing current seniors from the equation, you're not saying that you're committing to never raising the retirement age or cutting benefits.
I would never raise the retirement age in the face of declining life expectancy. I mean, I think that would be really bad. I mean, just think about it. That hurts blue collar folks. You get taxed your entire life. Life expectancy's down. You may not even be recouping very many benefits. And so life expectancy is declining. That's a big problem.
Governor Haley?
3 years in a row. He voted to raise life expectancy to 70 years old. 3 years in a row. Go to DeSantis.com.
Oh my God.
You'll see it. So now
It's her
suddenly
OnlyFans.
he's going to
That's
tell
the
you
only
because he's running
Wait,
for president, he's not
did
going
she-
to do it. You can't trust him. What I'll tell you, Social
Did she mean to
Security's
say
gonna go bankrupt in 10 years.
He voted for
Medicare's
retirement
gonna
age.
go
She said
bankrupt
voted
in
for
8.
life
Talks about taking
expectancy.
Yeah, I
care of
was like,
seniors.
how do you vote
Right
for-
now, it's
That's her
Florida
second
has-
gaffe.
is the inflation
Banning the
hotspot.
wall.
It's the
More
highest
than
cost
that.
of living of any state in the country. Seniors are having
That's
to
not
leave
true.
because they can't afford it.
Yes.
It's documented in DeSantisLies.com. What I'll tell
Oh
you
my
we
God.
have to do is we
13.
have to keep our promises to
DeSantis
seniors,
speak
but
2
we also
terms.
can't put our head in the sand. For those like Ron saying they're not going to touch Social Security, that means they're going to leave after 4 or 8 years and leave it bankrupt? No. What we do is we go to those in their 20s and say we're going to change the retirement
their
age to
money.
reflect life expectancy. Instead of cost of living increases, we do increases based on inflation. We limit benefits on the wealthy.
Thank you,
and
Governor.
we
According to Nikki,
expand
Ron
Medicare
voted to
Advantage
raise
plans for
life
seniors
expectancy.
That's
Governor.
how we'll deal with
So,
making sure
Governor,
they have it.
Reducing the benefits, when you do the change in calculation, reducing the benefits. So let's just put this in perspective. Under her administration, you would have seniors getting less cost of living adjustments, while your tax dollars are going to pay the pensions of Ukrainian bureaucrats.
That's not true.
You talk about putting
That's such a
Americans
lie,
last.
Ron.
That is
Joining
wrong.
the
You supported
27
all that
club.
money going over there. So let's put
You're
our
so
own people
desperate.
first. We
You're
have to
just
put
so
Governor
desperate.
Haley, let him
and she
speak.
also said, she said recently that the age of Social Security
Can you
is
imagine
way
what
too
this chick
low.
must have been
And
like in high
I
school?
criticized that, and then she was called on it, and then she said she never said it. Of course, you're lying. And then sure enough, you put on the interview where she's there, spit an image, and she says it's way too low. So, you know, we
It's
can play this
wild.
song
She-
and dance.
she
has a record.
plays
She
off
makes
lies so
statements.
easily.
And
like
I think
she
part of the problem with her candidacy.
Why does
Good.
Will get to
now that
live
she's
a
getting
year
scrutiny,
longer than me?
She's got this problem with ballistic podiatry, shooting herself in the foot every other day, saying things that now she doesn't even take questions from people.
Thank you, Governor DeSantis. Governor Haley, you want to raise the retirement age for younger Americans.
every
but you have
time
not said
Haley,
what that
anytime
age should be.
DeSantis
Should
criticizes her,
voters in their
she's like,
20s plan on working until they're 70?
"That's a
First of all,
lie."
he hasn't answered the fact that he voted to raise the retirement age to 73 different times. He can call me whatever name and be demeaning.
Oh,
as much
it's
as he
retirement
wants.
age now,
It
so you
doesn't
didn't vote to
change
raise
the
life
fact
expectancy.
Ron's lying because Ron's losing. Everybody in the country sees it for what it is. So what I'll tell you is,
what are you
yes,
winning?
we're going to take on, we're going to be responsible with it, and we're going to go to those in our 20s. When I said the retirement age was too low, again, where he's lying, it's because if you go, and you can go to DeSantisLies.com.
Oh my
I
God.
said it's too low if we're going to
14.
look at those in their 20s. We have to go and start looking at what we can do to get out of this. We want to make sure that everybody who was promised gets it, but we also want to make sure our kids have something when they get it too. So the way we do that is exactly how I laid it out. Then we'll know what we're looking at, and then we can start focusing. The other thing is we need to start cutting spending in DC. We have to go back to pre-COVID levels. That's why I'll veto any spending bill that doesn't take us back to pre-COVID levels. That will save us trillions. We've got to go into every agency, replace the head of every agency, and send people into every agency. I did that as governor. Pull down old regs, pull down old programs, get rid of any problem children, and clean those agencies out.
Get rid of any problem
There is a lot of
children?
waste in DC. You need an
He is a
accountant
wicked
to go in there
stepmother.
and clean it up. But we're not going to take away from anyone else. And he's yet to answer the fact that he voted 3 times to raise the retirement
Just a
age.
clarification, Governor
I
Haley.
think that's a big.
In 15 seconds, should voters in their 20s plan on having to work until they're 70?
They should plan on their retirement age being increased. Yes, we're going to change it to reflect more of what life expectancy should be.
Well, one of the things that I think we disagree on too is Governor Haley has said Social Security is an entitlement, but you know, it's not an entitlement. You're paying into it. It's not a welfare program. You're being taxed for this your whole life. And so to expect to have benefits on the back end, you know, I don't think that that's too much. The other thing I'd point out
Takes
is
too long.
Social Security for
I'm
decades
not there to
ran
help him
massive
fan the
surpluses.
smoke out
What
of
happened
the
to those
door.
surpluses? The Congress spent the
Or give Mike
surpluses.
10 if you
They have
do.
a big problem with that. So number one, we need
Why
term
don't you
limits
do
for
it?
members of Congress. Number
You
two,
were
we
freaking
need a balanced
popcorn
budget
machine.
amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Number three, we need to give the president a line item veto. And number four, when you see all these congressmen making a killing in the stock market, like Nancy Pelosi, she could run a very lucrative hedge fund. We need a 28th Amendment to the Constitution that says very simply, Congress shall make no law respecting the citizens of the United States that does not also apply to members of Congress themselves.
Oh yeah.
I want to turn now to the topic of abortion, which of course has been hotly
Oh,
debated
boy.
in this Republican primary
great.
campaign. Governor Haley, last week, Governor DeSantis said that former President Trump is not pro-life. Do you agree?
Well, duh.
I mean, look,
Don't
I think
answer.
that he did some pro-life things when he was president. You'd have to ask him. That's why he should be on this debate stage. Don't ask me what President Trump thinks. You need to have him on this debate stage and ask him for yourself.
Is everybody
Governor
running for
DeSantis?
second place? I
Well,
don't
look,
understand.
I think that we've stood very strongly for a culture of life. Governor Reynolds is here. She has stood strongly for a culture of life and enact pro-life protections. We've done it in the state of Florida. Donald Trump has attacked that. What they did under Governor Reynolds here in Iowa, he said that that's a, quote, terrible, terrible thing. I don't know how you square that. He was at the March for Life when he was president his last year, and he said that life's a gift from God, that the unborn are made in the image of God, and that you needed to have protections for that human life. And now saying it's a terrible, terrible thing. He's given a gift to the left to weaponize that against pro-lifers, and that's wrong. But here's the thing. Republicans need to do a better job of lifting up folks who are having children. It's very difficult to raise kids in this environment. You need to help with medical care. You need to help with affordability, and we need to help with education choice. You got to be pro-life for the whole life, and you got to have some compassion for what is going on in this country.
Governor, thank you,
That's a good answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Governor, yesterday in Iowa, you criticized Governor Haley on this issue of abortion. You said she's, quote, indulged in left-wing tropes and chastised pro-lifers. Do you believe Governor Haley is sufficiently pro-life?
I think she's been confused on the issue. I think she's trying to speak to different groups with different things. But when she says things like pro-lifers need to stop talking about throwing women in jail, that's a trope. No one I've ever met thinks that that's something that's appropriate. These women are in vulnerable situations. They don't get any help a lot of times from these fathers who, don't want to be there supportive. A lot of times they don't have resources themselves. So it's a very difficult situation. And we've got to have compassion for those situations. But I think when she starts bringing that in, that's using the language of the left to try to attack pro-lifers. So I think that is wrong. But at the end of the day, I do agree with her on this. Donald Trump should be on this stage. He owes it to you here in Iowa to explain this change he's had in his positioning, to explain why he has a tough time saying whether a man can become a woman or not, to explain why he wants to build a $1 billion plus big, beautiful new FBI building right in the heart of the swamp in Washington, D.C. He needs to explain why he didn't build the wall and why he added $7.8 trillion to the debt. Every candidate needs to earn your vote. Nobody's entitled to your vote. And he comes in here every now and then, he does his spiel, and then he leaves. I've shown up to all 99 counties because it's important. You're a servant of the people. You are not a ruler over the people. And that's the type of president that I will be for you.
Yeah, Grady.
I like
think
that.
Going after Trump on the wrong stuff.
I didn't hear the criticism from Ron about me for being pro-life, but I'm not surprised. It's something that he does all day, every day. I'm unapologetically pro-life, not because the Republican Party tells me to be, but because my husband is adopted. And I've got my two sweet children sitting in front of me, and I had trouble having both of them. These fellas don't know how to talk about abortion. I have said over and over again, the Democrats put fear in women on abortion, and Republicans have used judgment. This is too personal of an issue to put fear or judgment. Our goal should be, how do we save as many babies as possible and support as many moms as possible? That's what we're going to focus on doing. We're not going to demonize this issue anymore. We're not going to play politics with this issue anymore. We're going to treat it like the respectful issue that it is. And the tropes that you want to talk about, you keep saying, where is anybody talking about putting a woman in jail or giving her the death penalty? South Carolina. There is legislation right now that would put a woman in jail if she got an abortion.
Thank you, Governor.
That's why I say that.
Thank you, Governor. So I do want to remind the viewers at home, both governors have mentioned that they believe that Donald Trump should be here defending his own record. I just want to remind everybody that he did qualify for this debate, and he did not accept our invitation. Both of you talk about how important it is to protect the U.S. Constitution. 2 years after losing the 2020 election, Donald Trump wrote on social media about his baseless election lies, quote, "A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination.
Ain't nobody going to answer this question.
Regulations and articles, even those found in the Constitution," unquote. On that subject,
this is when he called for dismantling the Constitution, which is social.
2021, Donald Trump put himself over the Constitution. Governor Haley,
it's a terrible thing to say. Disqualifying completely, in my opinion.
Donald Trump view the Constitution.
I mean, look, you take an oath to the Constitution, and I think what you're seeing is Donald Trump basically said that the election was stolen. He went on and on talking about the election being stolen. He said that January 6th was a beautiful day. I think January 6th was a terrible day, and we should never want to see that happen again. And I think we have to always be strong on the fact that, look, we want fair elections, and we saw some discrepancies in those elections in 2020 that should be concerning. That's why I passed voter ID in South Carolina. That's why I think when absentee ballots go out, you should be able to verify signatures. That's why I think ballots ballots need to be counted on election day.
Guess who did all that? Ron did that in Florida.
But that election, Trump
and an election
lost.
crimes office.
Biden won that election. And the idea that he's gone and carried this out forever to the point that he's going to continue to say these things to scare the American people are wrong. We've seen a lot of states come together and do more election integrity bills. We need to do more than that. We still have 3 or 4 states that I'm worried about that don't have that. But at the end of the day, I will always defend and fight for the Constitution. That's what we should do as Americans. I think what happened on January 6th was a terrible day, and I think President Trump will have to answer for it.
So just a clarification, Governor. Is there any meaningful difference in how you and Donald Trump view the Constitution?
Well, I mean, I think that he says January 6th was a beautiful day. I don't think it was a beautiful day.
That's to do with the Constitution.
He thinks that he could go and bring in the fact that he wanted to change.
Oh, she's stuttering.
What the states did, the fact that he wanted to overturn the elections in D.C., those votes happen at the state level. You don't ever allow in D.C. for those votes to be changed at the federal level.
Governor.
States' rights matter.
Thank you, Governor. Governor DeSantis, is there any meaningful difference in how you and Donald Trump view the Constitution?
My role model for how to do the Constitution is George Washington. He said, the Constitution is the guide that I will never abandon. And I remember when I took an oath to be an officer in the U.S. Navy, you raise that hand, you put that left hand on the Bible. And it's interesting, the oath doesn't say that you're going to defend the shores of the United States or engage in military conflict. The oath simply says that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. As President of the United States, you will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. You can't just terminate the Constitution. I mean,
you're talking about what you think of the Constitution, but you haven't mentioned Trump.
Media, but obviously, I will uphold the Constitution. And I think it's fine to criticize Donald Trump, and I know the media brings this up a lot. But you know who else deserves to be criticized? The people that violated the Constitution during COVID to lock people out of schools, to destroy businesses, to force masks on people, to try to force vaccines. I'm going to bring a reckoning to all these agencies, the CDC, the NIH, the FDA. They harm people in this country. And when Dr. Fauci said there was no learning loss for kids, that's a disgrace.
Thank you, Governor.
There's a reckoning coming.
That was a missed opportunity.
Let's talk about how you view. Let's talk about how you view the powers of the presidency, because your opponent Donald Trump was in court yesterday for a hearing on presidential immunity. And Governor DeSantis, I'm wondering if you agree with the argument that Donald Trump's lawyer made in court that a president should have immunity for any conduct in office, including
Frodo from Lord of the Rings. This picture
ordering the assassination of a political rival, unless the president gets impeached and convicted by the Senate for the offense first.
Well, obviously, that attorney gave the case away on that explanation. I think the D.C. Circuit is going to rule against Donald Trump on that issue. I'm not exactly sure what the outer limits are. I don't think it's necessarily been litigated. It's not going to be an issue with me because I'm always going to follow the Constitution, and we're going to uphold the best traditions of the office. And I'm going to be a president you can be proud of. I think it's important that people be able to look to the president and say, hey, that's somebody that's worthy of emulating. And so my wife and I, we just view ourselves to try to do well for our kids and to make sure they're proud of us. And we set a good example. So that's what we would do in that situation. But I think there's a larger issue Republicans have got to think of it. Donald Trump's going to lose that appeal. He's going to end up going to trial in front of a stacked left-wing DC jury of all Democrats. What are the odds that he's going to get through that? And that's even talking about the validity of the charges. I don't think he gets through that. And so what are we going to do as Republicans in terms of who we nominate for president? If Trump is the nominee, it's going to be about January 6th, legal issues, criminal trials. The Democrats and the media would love to run with that. I'm not running for my issues. I'm running for your issues. We need to make this election a referendum on the failures of Joe Biden, the failures of the Democratic Party, and how we have the formula to engineer a great comeback for this country. That's what I would do.
Thank you, Governor. Governor Haley.
Good answer.
Your response?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
The question was, do you agree with the argument Donald Trump's lawyer made in court that a president should have immunity for any conduct, including ordering the assassination
you and the screen are frozen,
unless that president is impeached and convicted by the Senate for that offense first?
No, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we need to use some common sense here.
Fuck.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Let me reload. We'll take a very brief break.
You can't go and kill a political rival and then claim immunity from a president. I think we have to start doing things that are right.
Oh, all right. I guess it's just me. I don't know what's going on. Some issues. What do you guys think of the debate so far? I think Ron's gotten better, but still overall, yeah, it's just frustrating. Like, I feel like a lot of his answers, like, he could be saying better things.
Okay, I'm getting it back. Sorry. See, even my computer is like, wow, this sucks. Sorry, guys. 1 sec. I'm getting it back on. Sorry, vamp for a sec.
Vamp. 1 second.
Shut up, Will. Oh, yeah, it's... Thank
I'm
God.
nervous, just like Ron.
What?
Esteban said Will's nervous, just like Ron.
I'm nervous.
And then said Nikki's answer broke the stream.
Yeah. This is, oh my God. This might be the worst debate yet. What do you think?
I don't know what to think. How long is this debate supposed to be? Because I'm curious to see.
Hopefully. Yeah, Cooper, come say hi. You were nervous taking over? Nah, I feel like he would do a good job if it was like MIKEroaggress'd.
Oh yeah, I'd come up with something to talk about.
You'd pull it out of your bum.
Yeah, I'd talk about something.
This is awful. It's like none of them want to go after Trump, so why run against him? At least with Nikki Haley, it makes sense that she probably wants to be his VP, but I don't understand DeSantis. Like, if you were going to be cagey about really going after him on the things that you need to go after him on, why run?
Also, dude, it's gotten to the point in the campaign where you shouldn't need to worry about that much about what Trump voters think of you. Just say what you want to say.
I know.
Like, that's always been the big concern. Like, oh, he's got to be careful what he says because he's going to be the bridge between MAGA and everyone else. And it's like, okay, yeah, I get that at first. But now, like, I mean, unless he's trying to be really careful before the Iowa caucus, but, like, come on. Like, how can Jake Tapper read that Truth Social post about what Trump said about the Constitution? And then they ask DeSantis about differences between you and like, how can he at least at the bare minimum just say, I don't agree with that post that he said at all? Like, bare minimum.
Well, you kind of spoiled this, Cooper. I'm going to say hi, but my intro will be hitting Will with a pillow.
No, don't hit me with a pillow.
Hit him. Beat him up.
I'll hit him with a bottle. I'm just kidding.
Child abuse. He won't know. Well, now he might suspect it. I hate to tell you.
He won't know. Now I'm like worried. Is he gonna like fly through the window or something and like hit me with a pillow?
Should we tell people Cooper is what? Your stepbrother, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm pissed I didn't get to meet him when I was there.
I know.
God, though, this is it's mind-numbing. I am Will's stepbrother. I just can't believe, like, we're really going to be stuck with friggin' the Trump and Biden reboot.
This is what I don't get. So we watch this debate, right? And it's like, oh, this is so boring. This is so awful. But why is the alternative to this Biden versus Trump? That's worse. What are we thinking? I don't get it.
Yeah, but
what are we trying to top here?
No, I agree. But the thing is, it's well, forget Nikki Haley. So I'm just going to say Ron because he's the only one who's even an option. It's the incompetence of his campaign that I'm kind of starting to believe the polls, because I'm a huge supporter of him and I can feel why people aren't supporting him. And it's so unnecessary. I feel like this is a winnable election for him. There's no reason for him to be doing so badly other than what?
Do you want to know another reason why DeSantis isn't doing well?
Why?
Because the right has unfortunately become a lot more similar to the left than it should be. And a lot of it's emotional appeal over actual results and change. That's like, it's the whole, look how MAGA operates.
No, that's true. But I think
they're revising history.
I think it's very Hillary Clinton-y to blame the voters. And I feel like that's true. But oh, wait. Sorry, we'll pick this up after.
Oh, we had this conversation the other night.
Start this with healthcare. Neither
Hey,
of you
Brian
has released a detailed healthcare plan, so we want to give the voters here some insight into specifics of what you might do as president. Governor Haley, as governor of South Carolina, you chose not to expand Medicaid under Obamacare. 40 states, including this one where we are in Iowa, did expand Medicaid, covering more than 18 million Americans. As president, would you allow those states to keep their expansions in place?
Well, the first thing is we have to look at the fact that how can we be the best country in the world with the most expensive healthcare in the world? And so the way we're going to deal with it is we're going to open it all up. From the hospitals to the insurance companies to the doctors' offices to the pharmaceuticals to the PBMs, make them have to show us everything. Because right now, I can tell you, we take care of my parents. They're 87 and 90. My dad is in the hospital right now. When my mom was in the hospital, a nurse came up to her to give her a couple of Tylenol. And she said, I don't need them. And she said, honey, you might as well take them because you're going to pay for them anyway. When we got the bill from the hospital, no one talked to us about that. Right now, you have insurance companies and hospitals deciding what it is for us. We're going to take the patient out of the back seat and put them in the driver's seat. We're going to make sure that just like when you get your car fixed and you go and they say, we can give you a temporary fix and it'll cost this much money, or we can give you a permanent fix and it's going to cost that much money. We're going to go and make it transparent so that we can see everything so that they have to show us their warts. The second thing is we're going to pass tort reform around this country. I did that in South Carolina. Doctors don't give you those 10 tests because they want to. It's for the 90% chance they'll get sued. And then we're going to go and eliminate certificate of need in this country. I did that in South Carolina as well. That basically says if you have a hospital here, you can't have another hospital for X number of miles. They do the same thing for surgical centers, for nursing homes. We're going to put competition back in healthcare so that healthcare is fighting for the patient. That way services go up and costs go down.
Governor Haley, just a 15-second point of clarification. Would you allow the states that accepted Medicaid expansion to keep that?
So the problem with Medicaid is it needs to be sent down as block grants. Governors can best decide how to do that, whether they need to use it towards mental health, whether they need to use it towards support services. Right now, I would send all of that down to the states. The problem is they're only sending a small portion of it. They need to send more of that so the states can better take care of it.
Governor DeSantis,
Republican debate YouTube.
Iowa and the other 39 states who
we might have to, honestly, at some point.
Well, I've spoken with a lot of folks here in Iowa, and we need healthcare that's accessible, that's affordable, and that's accountable, and particularly an emphasis on mental health. In every corner of this state, everywhere I've traveled in the campaign, people are really concerned about mental health with the kids in schools, people that are coming out of service to our country, with veterans. We're going to put a big emphasis on mental health. I've actually delivered on some of these things in Florida. We got accountability for the pharmacy benefit middlemen that are causing your drug prices to go up. So we have transparency and consumers pay less. And I just beat the federal government to allow the state of Florida to buy prescription drugs from Canada, which is 25 cents on the dollar what our prescription drugs cost. I want seniors to be able to do. And then finally, we need to upend this COVID and medical authoritarian regime that we saw going around this country during COVID. It's wrong to force vaxes like the COVID shot and say people are going to lose their jobs. That is not going to ever happen on my watch.
Maybe give that
DeSantis the same
2 seconds of
I think what you do is you block grant the program and then let states run the way they see fit to do. But I can tell you this, expanding Medicaid leads to less private coverage. It doesn't necessarily increase access to quality care. I want to actually people get good health care. It's not just about a sheet of paper. If you don't get any good doctors,
Thank you, Governor.
You're entitled for that.
Just rambling.
Governor DeSantis mentioned mental health. Let's talk about that. There is a mental health crisis in this country. An estimated 58 million Americans suffer from some type of mental illness. Governor Haley, you say the mental health crisis
is not higher.
a, quote, cancer that no one has dealt with. What do you think is causing the crisis, and what would you do to fix it?
Well, I think we saw it exacerbated by COVID. I mean, with the school lockdowns and everything else, we see young people now with more anxiety, stress, and depression than ever before. 1 in 3 people right now suffer from mental health issues, but if treated, they can live a perfectly normal life. The problem is we don't have enough mental health therapists. We don't have enough.
No, we have too many.
Centers.
That's the
We don't have
problem.
enough addiction centers. And if you happen to be lucky enough to get one of those 3, insurance doesn't cover it. We have got to start dealing with this because it's become a huge issue. And that's why we need to have more telehealth so that people can get the mental health care they need right when they need it. We need to have mental health counselors in schools so they can identify when a child has a problem, that they can get the help that they need. But right now, we've got to get access to care. And that's, again, why I want to move those federal programs down to the state level.
That's how
because states know they need more mental health support. They're not getting the dollars to do it. We don't need DC bureaucrats handling that. We need this on the ground so that we can get the mental health centers, get the therapists, and get the
open my door and chuck
so
this
that
at
they
me.
can be healthy again.
Governor DeSantis, you said right here in Iowa this summer that closing mental health institutions, a policy supported by Ronald Reagan, was a mistake. As president, would you restore federal funding to those mental health institutions?
Yes, we need more people in institutionalized settings, unfortunately. But, you know, Governor Haley mentioned, I think correctly, the devastating mental health consequences for these school closures, a lot of things that happened during COVID. I never recalled seeing her out there fighting the fight. I was on the front lines on that. Governor Kim Reynolds was on the front lines on that. We fought back against the biomedical state. We were attacked by the media. We were attacked by the pharmaceutical companies. We were attacked by the left, attacked by Fauci. We stood and we helped people. And Iowa and Florida had the best schools opening in the entire pandemic because we led. That's what you want to do. Now, in terms of mental health, I've run into veterans here in Iowa, and I think we have a significant problem with veterans, particularly the post 9/11 veterans. And we know the stats on suicide. It's really, really sad. And as a fellow veteran, as president, I have to put that issue on the front burner. We can't keep turning a blind eye to what's happening to our vets. It's not going to be done just through the VA, and it can't be done just by pumping people with pharmaceuticals. The veteran has post-traumatic stress. You need more than just that. So we're going to use the VA to link veterans with resources that are throughout our country. For example, in Florida, we have an organization that trains service dogs to be able to be paired with veterans with post-traumatic stress. They understand the symptoms, they mitigate it, and you know what? The suicide rate is close to zero as a result of that. We got to think bigger than these bureaucracies, and we've got to be there for our vets and their mental health.
Thank you, Governor. Turning to the topic of climate, 2023 was the hottest year ever recorded on Earth, and Americans are already feeling the impact. Just yesterday, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric
2023 is the hottest year of all time.
The U.S. experienced 28
in the private
weather and climate-related disasters that cost at least $1 billion last year, another record. Governor DeSantis here in Florida, Governor DeSantis here in Iowa, massive flooding has left farmers underwater. In Florida, rising seas threaten coastal cities. You have taken action in your home state to mitigate the problems of rising seas. But as president, would you do anything to deal with the underlying cause, which scientists agree requires cutting carbon emissions?
So on day one as president, we take Biden's Green New Deal, we tear it up and we throw it in the trash can. It is bad for this country. We have to have reliable energy. And here's the thing. You know, they talk about, Joe Biden has said that global warming is worse than a nuclear war. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, gee, John Kerry hasn't given up his private jet. Obama hasn't given up his Martha's Vineyard seaside mansion. I haven't seen Biden do anything to hold China accountable, except making sure that Hunter gets his money. So these guys talk out of one side of their mouth and then they behave in another way.
It's definitely hard to keep paying attention to this.
But I also think that those policies would devastate communities, particularly here
I look
in
like
Iowa.
the
I mean,
hot
for example,
bad boy
he wants to mandate electric vehicles. That's going to be more costly. I think the car companies would go bankrupt, but it's going to hurt liquid fuels, which is very, very important. You're going to end up having rolling blackouts if they kneecap reliable energy production in this country. Florida's had a massive decline in emissions. It wasn't because of a single mandate. It was because of innovation, because a lot of natural gas has replaced coal. We do have market-based solar, and it's a complement.
Screen
cap. We cannot walk away from reliable energy. And I think about here's what the left wants to do.
And he
They
brought me
wanna
a
take
Bud
away your
Light.
freedom, and they
It's-
want you to
I have
pay
not
more
drank
for
one
everything.
since
We
the
need you
Dylan
to pay
Mulvaney
less
thing.
for
And
energy.
I don't know if
We
I
make
want
sure
to.
people can innovate.
That's what I don't
We
get.
cannot have these mandates, and they'll be gone the day I'm president.
So, Governor, just a point of clarification, 15 seconds. Recent research at the University of Iowa ties these floods in Iowa to the rise in greenhouse gases.
And here's the thing,
let me
Jay,
just ask the question. As president, would you do anything to deal with this underlying cause?
Oh, really?
And here's the thing. China is building 2 coal plants a week. You can do everything Biden wants to do, and you're going to have way more of what China's increasing it. So why would we be cutting off our nose to spite our face? China is the problem here, and so hold them accountable.
Thank you,
don't
Governor.
hold the American people.
Thank you,
to less
Governor. Governor
opportunity.
Haley, as president, would you do anything to deal with the
Exactly.
underlying cause of the floods and other
You know what,
climate
Esteban,
disasters, which scientists agree
Bud Light used to be my favorite light
requires
beer
cutting carbon emissions?
I don't get
until
that.
the Dylan
First of
Mulvaney
all,
thing happened.
regardless of
I
what
gave up my
party,
favorite light beer.
everybody wants to have clean air,
Haven't had
clean
it.
water.
And
They
then
want a
do
way
not.
that they can pass on to
then
their
tonight,
kids. It's going to be
this
healthy
guy,
and all of
Cooper,
that. But it's
brings me
how do we
this.
do that? I think the first thing
It's
we
the
have
only
to
one we
understand
have, and I
is
don't
you
want
don't
to
deal
open
in
it.
extremes. When I was at the United Nations, the reason I took us out of the
I hate to
Paris
say,
Climate
Cooper, I don't.
Agreement was because President
I don't
Obama
think I
had
can
put
open that.
all these mandates down on our businesses, but they didn't do anything to hold China and India to account. Those are the 2 countries we have to really go to if we care about the environment, that we go and make them be held accountable. The second thing is we'll roll back all of Biden's green subsidies because they're misplaced. Rather than putting anything towards innovation on what we can do on nuclear fusion and other things that reduce emissions, which there are things out there, to go and have everybody have to drive an electric car by 2035, that's not even smart. One, because, which by the way,
can't take these
Ron took
bitches
Biden's
anymore.
stimulus
I'd rather
money
watch
and did
We Sing
charging
again.
stations all throughout Florida.
just
I wouldn't have taken the stimulus
I'm more
money.
distracted by the
But
fact that I was
what
handed
that does
this.
is basically we don't have
I'm
the
thinking about that more than the
infrastructure. And
debate
I'm
right
not
now.
just talking about charging stations. Electric vehicles are heavy. Our roads
Exactly.
and bridges
Tell
wouldn't be
him,
able to handle that
Esteban.
if we did that because they're heavy in
Oh
weight.
God, Cooper just said,
And
"Here
so we
comes
have
something
to be
better."
smart about the way we do that. Not to mention 70% of the batteries in electric cars are made in China.
It's like a
So
salt underneath
Biden
a
gave
pillow or
this
something.
massive windfall to our #1 national security threat.
That's not up
If
here.
we're going to do it, innovate it.
You just put a cat on the
transition,
table.
and do it the right way,
Thank
not
you.
in extremes.
Thank you. I want to turn to the issue
God.
of crime. The majority of Americans describe
And you closed the
crime
door,
in
so
the
I'm
U.S.
stuck in
as
here with the
either
cat.
extremely or very serious. Recent data show crime rates falling,
Cat
but
just went
some
under the bed.
violent crime rates do
Never.
remain high. Governor Haley, former President Trump, suggested that he might try to stop violent crime by deploying U.S. troops to Democratic-run states and cities, something he could potentially do under the
Bullshit, all
Insurrection
talk.
Act. Is that something that you would do as president?
Insurrectionary.
What I would do is, first of all, defund sanctuary cities. It's hugely important that we do that. That's where we're seeing a lot of crime. But the second thing is our law enforcement is demoralized right now because if they go and they arrest someone for having a stolen gun, it's demoralizing when they go through all that effort, put their lives at risk, and then you turn around and let that criminal go the very next day. Prosecutors need to prosecute according to the law, and we've got to start holding them accountable. When we bring law and order back to our
Can you imagine what her poor husband has to deal with?
You don't do it by defunding the police, and you don't do it by just praising the police. You do it by having their backs, making sure we passed the first body camera bill in the country in South Carolina to make sure that law enforcement felt like they could do their job without feeling threatened about them doing their job. But we have to have prosecutors prosecuting. We have to defund sanctuary cities. We have to get these stolen guns and drugs off the street. And the only way we can do that is when we empower law enforcement.
Governor DeSantis.
I just think, that quote from the former President Trump is a little bit rich because he was president during the worst rioting in the modern history of this country, the BLM riots in the summer of 2020. When I saw that happening in Minneapolis, in Florida, I called out the National Guard. We had state law enforcement deployed. We said, you're not burning down our cities in the state. You know what? It didn't happen. He sat in the White House and tweeted law and order, but he did nothing to ensure law and order. As your president, I would never let
so
our
much more
cities burn.
entertaining
You have
than
every right to stop this runaway
He
rioting.
gave me a
As president,
glass.
you have a duty. Now, Nikki Haley and I have a disagreement on the BLM stuff too, because she tweeted during this period of time that the death of George Floyd should be, quote, personal and painful for each and every American. But people in Iowa had nothing to do with that, or Florida or South Carolina. She was virtue signaling to the left. She was accepting the narrative, and she was trying to impress people who were never going to like us. I never bought into going after the police. We backed the blue to the hill in the state of Florida, and we're
all right. Here's the thing, guys.
Thank you, Governor
This has been in the fridge for months.
It's interesting that he did that.
And no one's touched it. And I didn't buy it, so it's already bought. I don't plan on buying Bud Light, but this is my option right now. So I think I'm going to drink it.
Who was shot
Where's your
7
paper
times
straw?
in the back by a dirty cop.
I'm not in California right now, so I don't have to worry about
We had
that.
a horrific shooting at a church where a white supremacist came in and killed 9 amazing souls. BLM, all of that, we never had to deal with riots. We never had to call in the National Guard, Ron, because when we had both of those shootings, we were able to pull people together. We didn't have riots. We had vigils. We didn't have protests. We had prayer. We brought people together. When I said that about George Floyd, when we turned around and had the worst shooting in a religious place,
this beer is actually expired.
Not only did I pass the first body camera bill in the country and keep our state together, not only did I move to
technically beer doesn't actually expire.
We came together as a state in prayer, and we had no division, no riots, no
Maria is
we didn't need the National Guard because a leader knows how to bring out the best in their people.
Thank you, Governor. So you have been sparring on the campaign trail for months. We've seen some vicious attack ads going back and forth, and tonight we have had a very lively debate. On a different note, Governor DeSantis, let me ask you,
dead as Joe
what do you
Biden
admire
voters
about Governor Haley?
No, don't.
Well, look, I mean, I think
I'm not
that, you know, at the United Nations,
get out of here.
I did think that she spoke out strongly on some key issues, and I appreciated that. I also appreciate the state of South Carolina.
I'm going to lock the door.
My wife is a college of Charleston graduate. Her parents lived there for many, many years.
They're gone.
And so it is a wonderful state. There's a lot of great people there. And I think to be able to have been governor there is a great achievement. And I really appreciate everyone I've gotten to meet in South Carolina.
Governor Haley, what do you admire about Governor DeSantis?
I think he's been a good governor.
Okay. So we're going to squeeze in another quick break, and we'll be right back with more.
She's kind of right.
Republican debates here at Drake University.
Our stream is down.
What?
How is our stream down?
What do you mean?
They copyrighted us. What the hell? Okay.
Oh my God.
Wait 1 sec. Everybody, if you can hear, well, they can't hear this. 1 sec. One sec. Let me share the Rumble link. Shit. Let me find the Rumble link. If you're watching on Rumble right now or Twitter, we got taken down off of the YouTubes. So I am sharing the link. 1 second, y'all. Oh, look at the cat.
In spirit.
Aw. Okay, here is the Rumble link. I don't know how it got banned. Yeah, I've never had that happen with like a news thingy. That's weird. I think even YouTube was like,
get taken off YouTube.
We're on Rumble still, and we're still on Rumble and on Twitter.
On Rumble.
Brian asked, oh, that's nice. Everyone switched over. Brian asked, did YouTube send you anything saying why they pulled it down? I don't know. I'll look afterwards. Hey, DeVille. Esteban said, I didn't know Will had a
Get out
cat.
of here. Bring the cat down.
Oh, now YouTube is back, apparently. So we're apparently back on YouTube.
What are you doing?
YouTube is back.
Oh my God. YouTube's back.
All right. Let me know if it goes down again. I'm gonna look at the YouTube comments, I guess. I don't want to keep too many things open. Ew. What the fuck will is that? That's like evil Will.
All right. Well, while the commercial's still on, I'm gonna run to the bathroom real fast.
Oh, great. Leave me with this friggin' debate.
BRB.
Go. Oh my God. This is just torture. This is torture. I don't want to open too many things on my shitty computer, but I will find out why they took us down for a moment. Maybe it's because of the friggin' CNN theme song. I don't know. This debate is awful. Nobody will even really go after Trump, so I don't know why they're bothering to run against him. What a shit debate. Was that the end of it, by the way? Did they say they're coming back? Content violations. First of all, very presumptuous of them to think that anybody wants to watch this. How anybody is still hanging out here with us, I have no idea. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all. God. This debate, it has felt like a lobotomy, I must say. And the last few were kind of good. Saskillet, I just voted to lower my own life expectancy after this debate. Oh, Christian Amanpour. Look how diverse they are. This is torture. I am so checked out of the election. Like I already was before, but I'm just more so at this point. I have whatever hope or faith I had in DeSantis is like long gone. I know Will is more optimistic than I am, but he has to have run one of the worst campaigns of all time. It's unbelievable. Oh, yay, it's back. It's like the Addams Family. Oh, he lives.
From Des Moines, Iowa, and the CNN Republican presidential debate, we now have time for closing statements, and we begin with Governor Haley.
First of all, I want to thank the good people of Iowa. I have campaigned for 11 months, whether it's driving a combine or holding a pig at a produce area, or whether it's the fact that we've met.
She was holding Chris Christie
and small businesses. You know, every one of them knows that we can't go through 4 more years of chaos. And if it's Donald Trump, there will be 4 more years of chaos.
Is that Cooper?
We can't be a country in disarray and a world on fire and go through 4 more years of chaos. And we can't go through another nail biter of an election. And if you look at the polls right now, going against Joe Biden, in every one of those head-to-head polls, Ron doesn't beat Joe Biden. Trump is head-to-head. On a good day, he might be up by 2 points. I defeat Biden by 17 points. What? That's bigger than the president.
I'd love to know what polls she's citing.
Yeah, she must be
that's down to school board. That's a mandate to get our spending under control and get inflation down. That's a mandate to get our kids reading again and go back to the basics in education. That's a mandate to secure our borders with no more excuses. That's a mandate to bring law and order back to our country. And that's a mandate for a strong America that we can be proud of. We can do this. I know we can do this. If you will join with me in this movement, if you join with me in this
fight, water bottle.
I promise you our best days are to come. God bless you.
Governor DeSantis.
Well, it's been great to visit all 99 counties here in Iowa. I've been able to meet so many friends and really learn about some of the best of America. Iowa's votes do not need to be corrected by any other state. You all know what you're doing, and we have an opportunity in Monday to really change the course of history. Donald Trump's running for his issues. Nikki Haley's running for her donors' issues.
Said this.
I'm running for your issues, your family's issues, and solely to turn this country around. I'm the only one running that's delivered on 100% of my promises, and I'm the only one running that has beaten the left time and time again, from the teachers' unions to Fauci to the Democratic Party. We need to run under the banner of bold colors that are putting the American people first. We can't run under a banner of pale pastels of the warmed over corporatism, the likes of which is practiced by Nikki Haley. Freedom is on the ballot. Decline is a choice. We have it within our power to fix this country and to turn it around. I am asking for your support in the Iowa caucus on Monday January 15th. I'll be a president that you can be proud of. And I promise you this, I will get the job done and I will not let you down. Thank you and God bless you all.
Your campaign is letting us
Governor
down.
DeSantis and Governor Haley. Governor DeSantis and Governor Haley, thank you so much, both of you, for being here tonight. Thanks to our audience, to our host, Drake University. For Dana Bash and the whole CNN team, I'm Jake Tapper. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to join us Monday, January 15th at 4 p.m. Eastern for CNN's coverage of the Iowa caucuses. Anderson Cooper and Caitlin Collins are going to pick it up right now with more on the debate. See you tomorrow.
No more on the debate. I can't take more.
Is that Ron's kid who ran up on stage? Did you see that?
Wait, sorry. Let me reload real quick. Oh, wait. Is it catching up? Maybe. Let me reload real quick. Will, vamp for 30 seconds.
Okay.
Cooper, you're in charge while I'm gone.
Well, that was something. Honestly, your foot is literally in the background. So that debate, I don't know. It should have been an easy smackdown, in my opinion. We saw that smackdown with DeSantis versus Newsom. And that just did not come to fruition here. I thought DeSantis did a better job than Haley, but that's not saying much. Oh yeah, no, it was just frustrating. It was like, it's not that his answers were like outright bad. It's just that he could have been saying other things.
Did you say this was not outright bad?
I was saying DeSantis's answers for the most part weren't outright bad. They just they could have been better.
Here's the thing. I think when you're so far behind, being fine is not enough. Being fine is losing. Like, I for a while, especially, when his campaign was starting, I kind of compared it to Obama when he beat Hillary in the primary. But he did that because he ran such a ridiculously exceptional campaign. That wouldn't have happened if he was just kind of middle of the road and fine. So to me, just being fine is a total failure.
But like, it's just so disappointing. It's like,
I know.
Oh yeah, like his answers are fine, but like
they're nice.
But like, if you look at what he's done as governor, it's not just fine, it's bold. It's been bolder than any other Republican leader in the country. Like, he went above and beyond during COVID and did what the president at the time, Trump, couldn't even do, which was say no to all this stuff. Like, he obviously knows what he should be doing that's correct, no matter what he's being told. He's bold and a free thinker. It just sucks because when he doesn't get that free thinker tone across to people when he's saying these answers over and over again. Like, a lot of the answers he said to tonight's debate weren't bad, but he said it 2 nights ago at the town hall.
So scripted.
Word for word.
So scripted.
So it's like, it's just frustrating. It just is. And then you see him like off the cuff talking with the media and reporters in Florida. He does such a great job. Like, he's a great guy when he's not scripted. It's kind of like Trump in a little bit, but except DeSantis is like the younger, sharper version, the non-crazy version of it. But now he's been leaning into it the wrong way. He's been to the scripted stuff just doesn't work.
Sorry, I just keep laughing at Cooper's hat behind you. What hat are you wearing, Cooper? You look like Little Miss Muffet.
Did you hear Mike? He just nodded.
Oh yeah, he heard. He ran. He's hiding his horrible hat. What's that?
He said he's wearing a Bulls hat.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, that's. I should be clear too. Like, I'm still voting for him, but I'm just trying to be objective, and I'm annoyed because he's just screwed himself so badly this whole time.
I don't know. It just.
He's changing his hat. Sorry, I didn't mean to shame your hat, Cooper. This one's pretty awful too, but Chat, what are your thoughts? Chat. See, your shirt is so much more exciting than the debate was. Titillating.
That should just be my profile picture of this.
Wait, don't move. Done. There's a comedian named Kelly that impersonates Vivek. Oh, I don't watch that.
Thanks, Cooper.
What did he say?
He's patted me in the back. He said, "Good job, William."
Yeah, Will, I would rather watch. I was gonna say I would rather watch you than the debate. I would rather watch anything than the debate, though. That might have been worse than our Zoom debate.
It was just like,
Yeah.
What did he say? Okay, that's way better. I like that one, dude. No, that one kind of sucks.
he already said. He said the second one was way better.
No, the first one was way better. That one.
The first one?
No,
that one. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. By the way, if you're still watching at this point, tweet us #Cooper's hat. Pull up cringe or YouTube. Yeah,
You want me to pull up the YouTube poop?
Yeah, can you screen share because my computer?
Let me find it.
I just feel miserable after that. Like, it was, I don't know. I feel like that sort of extinguished the last little spark of hope I had for DeSantis.
It's just so frustrating.
I know. What is he doing?
No.
Where are you pulling up?
It is.
Let me check our Rumble commenters.
Yo, you want me to show you a YouTube poop?
Yeah, one sec, Sorry, I'm checking in on the YouTube commenters. It's hard to have both open at the same time. Yeah, that was torture. Anyway, let us know, our Trump correspondents. Let us know if his event was any better than that. Can you pull it up, Will? Can you screen share?
Yeah. We're probably not gonna watch the whole thing because it's it's really cringy.
7 hours. What is it?
It's
exactly.
extremely...
That was the Jeb Bush of debates.
You can see this?
Let's see. Yes.
Oh God,
the
you ready?
Republican Dublican. Oh, this is gonna be. This is gonna be some like
it's a serious debate. Welcome to the Republican debate. I'm Lester Holster of NB Nightly News.
Good evening. I'm the press.
We are now just 60.
Well, I'm Hugh, host of the Hugh Show.
We are now just 69 days from the end of the world. Ups will be at the discretion of all of us at the table. With that said, let's bring down the country. Candidates will have 1 second for answers and the opportunity for a candidate from fellow debaters. Please, I want to caution all the candidates not to speak. If you talk, we can't hear you. All right, our first question, the opening question is the first question. Governor DeSantis, let me begin with you on this one. Speak to Republican voters who are supporting.
Mommy, I just want to get back to Florida. Mommy, I don't want to hear any more Republicans because ultimately they don't care.
Let's not go down this road.
Mommy left me stranded. Mommy.
As a mom, I know what that means.
I'm going to take the future of this country. I'm going to rip it up. I'm going to throw it in the trash can where it belongs. That's how we have to do it. We have to finish the job. We have to do it.
All over. Let's not do this. Let's have a serious debate.
I wasn't doing shit. I'm going to take this
Ferrari.
I'm going to be taking it all up the bike.
All right, thank you, Governor. Now, Ambassador, would you consider him, for example?
Let me remind you something. I don't know. But what we don't need is Biden falling all over himself to get back in the airplane. We can't live in America. It's unthinkable. Biden's coffee is unthinkable. Biden's watch is unwatchable. Biden's crotch is unwashable and stinky. We don't need friends. Let's get crying. If Ron wins, Russia wins. We have to.
That is totally ridiculous, and I'm sending you home. No questions asked. Well, I don't care. I'm going to unleash all of America's everything. I sent planes over. I sent trains over. I sent planes over. I sent chains over. I sent drains over. I sent cranes over. I sent stains over. I sent great stains over.
Oh my God,
I sent planes over. I gave them Carolina. I gave them meth. I actually did something in private. That's how we have to do it. I banned losing. I'm going to take drugs, and as president, I will deliver.
Your time is up. Let me turn to Governor DeSantis.
I think the future of freedom is going to be President Jesus.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Joseph. You read my mind. Oh.
I told you we were going to watch whole things. It's really, the whole point of it is supposed to be like cringe.
Wasn't the real one bad enough?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Ooh. I'm just bummed after that. Like that. Ugh.
I know, same.
Is there anything like uplifting? Anyone? Could someone white pill us? Will, what's something positive?
I don't know, man.
Not that shirt.
It's just.
What is Cooper doing?
I don't know. Is Cooper a distraction?
No. Cooper's awesome. Cooper is like the best part of the stream. And you.
Oh, thanks.
Whatever. Yeah.
No, that
Ryan, something white pill about the debate. It's over. Where's the Chelly dude? Drop a link, Popcorn. Who the hell is Chelly?
I still think that winning Iowa is more important than this debate. I do think that this debate was a key factor in
what is he doing?
Winning Iowa. He showed me pictures of bed pillows to buy on Amazon. I don't know why.
What? Your face pillows. Good. I need a white pill after that debate. I need a lot of pills after that debate.
It's just so annoying.
So do you think DeSantis's chances are better or worse after that?
I think they're about the same.
I'd say worse. What's he pulling up?
I don't know, dude. Joe Flacco.
What?
The football player.
Oh. What was the cringy thing I said we had to watch? I forget. What is that?
Star Wars video?
Ugh. Put a chicken in your gay. What is that?
The one with the younglings.
Well, yeah, I feel like I don't know. I'm so over politics.
It's just I just don't get it. I just don't get how literally everybody can agree on the fact the 2020 election was awful and that we are all signing up to do it again.
I know.
For what?
It's the definition of insanity. Trying the same thing again, expecting different results, and there won't be different results.
Mm.
But it's not like I don't think DeSantis, as in his campaign, has really done much to persuade people.
I don't know, dude, because the thing is like towards the beginning, like when he first started, dude, then all the numbers were, whether you believe them or not, but at the time, they were showing that he had an equal chance, if not slightly better than Trump at being the nominee.
At the beginning, right?
At the beginning.
That's what I'm saying. And so
look what changed. But look at the several. Do not throw that pillow at me.
Throw it.
Look what happened. It's like I was saying before, dude. It started early with the Mar-a-Lago raid on Trump. That was like the first thing. There's an entire timeline of just the campaign of insane Trump news stories happening just in this campaign trail.
Do you really? Oh.
Okay.
Wait though. By the way, I got to pull this up because the title is just amazing.
Oh God.
Mr. President, we appreciate you making the track. And before we begin, we want to offer our condolences to you and the former First Lady, Melania Trump, for the loss of her mother last night.
Thank you very much. Great woman. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We do want to note that today there was some breaking campaign news. Take a listen.
It's clear to me tonight that there isn't a path for me to win the nomination.
There's barely a path for you to walk down a hallway.
I'm suspending my campaign tonight for President of the United States. I am going to make sure that in no way do I enable Donald Trump to ever be President of the United States again.
Not with that.
So that was the big news late today.
You don't even need that to open it.
He dropped out of the race in New Hampshire. You saw it there. There's a lot of speculation now that there could be a combining of forces of the people who supported him. He had about 12% there. And by some
12%.
Estimates, you're ahead by an average of 14 in the Real Clear Politics average polling in New Hampshire. So if that 12 goes to Nikki Haley, she could give you a run for your money there.
Well, you have Democrats in New Hampshire and they vote, and you have independents in New Hampshire in large numbers and they vote.
Good timing.
And I have polls that show me leading by a tremendous amount in New Hampshire and a lot in Iowa, and nationwide we're leading by almost 60 points. So I'm not exactly worried about it. I understand New Hampshire very well. I've won it
leading
twice
by 60
and did very well with New Hampshire. I love the people. They love me, I think. We did a good job for New Hampshire economically and even from the standpoint of the military, taking care of the vets. And I think we're going to do very well in New Hampshire. Now, Chris Christie was in and he got a hot mic I heard about. I thought actually the bigger story wasn't the fact
don't
care too much about that, but he had a hot mic where he was talking to somebody about the weather, and he happened to say that she doesn't have what it takes. She'll be creamed in the election. And I mean, I know her very well, and I happen to believe that Chris Christie is right. That's one of the few things he's been right about, actually.
So you don't think it changes the dynamic much?
I don't know if it does or not. Look, we're winning tremendously here. I think we're 20, 24 points up. I brought some polls if you want to see them, just in case. But I think we're 24, 25 points up. But New Hampshire's interesting. It's a great place, a great state, unbelievable people. But they allow independents and Democrats to vote in the Republican primary. You say, what's that all about? So it's a little bit false in that regard. But even with that, I think we'll win substantially.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
I don't think he actually said nobody cares.
Does it?
Oh, what a horrible debate. What are you doing?
No, he opened it. I didn't do
Make
anything.
him drink it and watch him turn trans.
You take one sip and go, oh, game on. day one of being a woman, and it feels great. I'm about to give a speech at a college tonight. I can't wait for my basketball game. Oh my God, you're terrible.
That was the best part.
Got hit with a pillow.
You had it coming.
Hey, bro. Okay. By the way, our stream's still going on, so I can't have too many distractions right now. Okay. It's
Please
still
leave
happening.
distractions after that shit. How you doing, Cooper? Tell us. Let's turn this. This should be the Cooper show. We can't hear you.
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
School's fine.
What?
Cooper gonna get slammed. He has a dog. He can't do anything.
What?
Give him like a earpiece or something.
I have an earpiece.
Oh, well, you sound like Darth Vader.
Well, okay, here. Hello. Is this better?
It'll have to be.
Okay. Other than that, it's going pretty well. Like, you should watch my video.
You don't have any video. What videos? Oh, you do. But yeah, that's right.
I need more views. I need more clout, guys.
Okay, well, everybody commented the thing. Everyone subscribe to Cooper as well, since I guess the kids now have YouTubes as well.
Like 24.
How old are you, Cooper?
I'm like almost 15.
What do you have on your? What do you put on your channel?
Random videos.
Yeah, he sounds like he's talking into a can. I do too.
I just do edits. I like editing stuff.
Now it sounds like you're talking into a better can.
Well, probably because I'm talking closer. Is this better? If I talk like that.
That's good.
Yeah, you guys should stream my video. Totally. I need more views.
At least you're kind of. Oh, at least he's kind of a white pill, though. That they're like, based kids out there.
I'm just saying, it's only the 18 to like 24 year olds.
Yeah, get ready for college.
Everyone in my high school doesn't care.
What do you say?
There's no trans kids in my high school.
There are none?
They might read it.
Wow, I would think they would just be like transing all of them.
Oh no. Hey, when your school's like 80% Mexican.
Oh yeah, those Hispanics tend to lean more conservative.
What did you say about Mexicans?
50% Mexican, 49% Jew, 1% other.
Yeah, I feel like the Jews and the Mexicans are having none of that shit. Yeah, Cooper, what's your channel?
SB.
Hmm?
SB. Not the little Roblox ones.
Comment in the chat so I can
I'll link it in the chat.
bring it up.
I'll link one of my videos, okay?
Yeah, I'll share your thing. Yeah, Popcorn says, Cooper, help us convert all the kids away from insanity.
Oh, there's like, I don't know, it's the 18 to 24 year olds.
What did you say?
It's the 18 to 24 year olds.
I did not hear.
18 to 24-year-olds, he said. That's amazing. The mic, so you can hear me fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's speaking like right next to me.
It's this AirPod.
It must be only this left one that it takes it in or something.
Yeah, good to know some teens are based. Let me find Cooper's channel.
I just want to watch the Cleveland Browns win their playoff rounds and not get eliminated on the first round.
Here it is. There is Cooper's channel. So everybody subscribe to Cooper because he is awesome.
You guys should watch my video.
His Star Wars video about younglings.
What are that? What Star Wars is that?
Episode 3.
Out of 10, how was the debate? Negative 47.
No, it's like a 5.
We need to stop all these young women from turning to OnlyFans and making TikToks crying in their cars. Did I tell you about the trans chick who made a video Where she had her phone set up inside her car already filming, and pretends that she's running inside her car sobbing and afraid of all the people harassing her.
Sounds like something you'd seen in a cringe compilation.
Yeah, she did a cringe compilation. So what are you up to, Will? I mean, I know, but I'm pretending I don't.
What am I up to?
Yeah, in general.
Well, I can't be on too late tonight because I gotta be up. I still have to pack some things, and I'm flying tomorrow morning to come back to Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should probably wrap up in a bit. No, but Celebrity Jeopardy was fun. Well, you made it fun, Will.
Celebrity Jeopardy?
No, you made the shitty debate fun, shithead.
Oh, I'm glad.
Are you gonna miss him? No, he's a freeloader. Get him. Zixie says she loves Star Wars, but not Disney's crap sequels. I agree.
Yeah, they kind of sucked. Actually, those sequels sucked so hard that they made you realize how the prequels aren't as bad as everyone says they are.
Sure,
they're way more consistent than the sequel trilogy.
This debate with no commentary would be unwatchable. I feel like our commentary was just like wanting to blow our brains out.
Our commentary was just like blank face, and every once in a while being like, "Oh, that was a good one."
Yeah, that was fine. That was
good.
nice.
DeSantisLies.com.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. We can't wrap up without going to DeSantisLies.com.
I'm surprised that he didn't once mention the realnikki.com that his campaign created.
Oh, he has a fucking website.
I already went on the website.
All right, wait, let's see. Ron DeSantis' World of Lies. Oh, yeah. Did you hear about this shit? The Star Wars director who's like, I like making men uncomfortable. Welcome to his World of Lies. The more he loses, the more he lies. Get the facts about Ron. Gaza. DeSantis falsely claims Haley went to... Oh, God.
Some of these supposed lies are lacking so much context. Like, lie. DeSantis falsely claims. Look at this.
Fact checkers denounced DeSantis' lies.
That's what I was just looking at.
Yeah, leftist fact checkers.
But there's like 3 videos of her saying that Hillary Clinton inspired her to get into politics.
Well, I know. And what she's doing is because she always goes back and forth and says different things. So she's taking one of those, but negating her saying the complete opposite of it.
But also, she changes her positions. Like,
yeah.
Like, it'll be like, oh, you know, DeSantis said Haley said this. And Haley's like, no, that's a lie. And then she'll pull up a video of her refuting that. But Ron's also pulling up videos of her saying the opposite thing. So, like, that's what a lot of her lies are.
I'm quite frankly just completely over all of these people and all of politics, and I'm sick of it all. No, you can't agree. You have to, you know, turn all the kids into being based.
You have to vote in 4 years.
Yeah, that's right. No, he already doesn't want to.
Just be careful when you get to college.
Yeah, don't let them trans you, Cooper. You know they're going to try to. Gosh, drag this guy with you.
My sister's going to Florida.
What?
Is that where she's going?
She makes it in.
Oh, interesting.
Well, drag this little bitch with you. Well, what's that? What do you say?
Oh my God, this is going to be annoying.
William or you?
Him. I'm going there anyway. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's moving there.
I named myself. I played one day of Roblox for fun. I named myself Ben Shapiro the First, and I got killed. I got told to kill myself.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
Because Roblox is still the pedophiles, and I didn't want to get killed.
All right, well, we should probably wrap up. You got a flight, and I am feeling brain dead from that debate.
Yeah, same.
Bye, Cooper. You made this awesome. Everybody subscribe to Cooper. If anybody is still watching this mess, tweet us, send us comments, hashtag Cooper's hat. Subscribe to Will. Subscribe to Cooper. You went with the cool hat. I like it. Thank you guys for sitting through this train wreck with us.
Get out of here. We're almost done. Let me finish in peace.
He's awesome. Evan, you got to come on here soon to talk about ghosts.
Vape across the basement floor. It actually happened. I hit it, and then I threw it across the floor, and I was like, "Vapor the phone."
Good for you.
No vapes in my house.
Yeah, it definitely happened.
I did say no vapes in my house.
Ooh.
Our house.
No, my house.
Not after tomorrow.
No. Okay. Well, I'm out of here tomorrow, so.
I know. Yeah, Zach Baggins stream.
Baggins? You mean big? Oh, it's Zach Baggins. You got to say it right.
Well, I know. I haven't watched it. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to get him to go.
All right. Good night.
Bye, Cooper.
What
did he say?
All right. Good night.
What did he say? Yeah, have a safe flight, Will.
Thank you.
Maybe it'll just get rerouted here.
Yeah. You never know.
Well, we'll probably do something. When's Iowa shit? Monday?
Yep. The day I'm working.
Yeah, so maybe I don't know. We'll probably do another stream or something soon. We should, although maybe not. I don't know if they're having another debate, but maybe something more fun than these horrible debates. It was torture, but had a good time hanging with you.
Yeah, it was brutal. Yeah, no, I had a good time as always too.
Yeah, same. You freaking stinny.
You're a stinny.
You're a stinny.
You're a stinny.
You are.
Stinny.
Whatever, Todoroki.
Oh my God, Evan knows about Todoroki.
Todoroki.
I watched The Cringe with him.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right, well, we should wrap the fuck up. Thank you guys. I don't know how anybody is still hanging in there for this, but thank you for being here. I will have more shows. We'll have more shows. We're gonna do more squad streams. So having Todoroki's baby. All right, you freaking Tsundere.
Tsundere. Thank you guys for stopping in. It's great to see you guys again, of course. Yeah. As always.
You
loved your comments.
Best. All right, well, follow me, follow him, do all the stuff. We'll
do all the things.
Soon. We'll see you guys soon. Good night, Will.
Good night, Stan.
Good night, Stan. Whatever.
What is?